to another episode of Catch That, where we break down R&B albums, eras, and topics with knowledgeable music folk. And I am Naturally Elise, and that's my brother.
JR.
And we are the R&B representatives. And today we are welcoming somebody new to the show, and that is Mr. Calvin Michaels. Hello.
Hey, folks.
How's it going?
Right, well, we get started. Ain't nobody want to be at work, but we're here. So, amen for this.
Yes.
Yes. And before we jump into anything, how about you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, as much or as little as you would like to share?
Okay. So I am Calvin Michaels. I have a channel out here on YouTube that normally covers politics, entertainment, current world affairs. I also spent a decade and some change working in youth development, and I've kind of transitioned into working in film and just jumping into some other projects. So 2024, God willing, will be a really great year for me creatively. But yeah, I've just been kind of working on a bunch of different things. And yeah, I'm just that music dork that you call and talk to on the phone for 3 hours about some album that nobody ever heard of from 19. So yeah.
So you're basically my favorite type of person in the world.
Yes.
I feel like sometimes if some of my other friends would be over and one of those childhood friends calls and we get on the phone and they just looking at like, what are y'all talking about? Because you start talking about somebody touring, who was in the band, and when the band member switched out, and they be like, y'all need lives. Like, it's not this deep. It is.
That's a normal JR and Elise conversation.
Barbershop with sports, why can't you do it with music? So yeah, they'd be in the barbershop ready to throw hands over, some conversations and playoffs. So
yes. Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So JR, how about you let us
Yes.
know what we're going to be talking about and why you think it's important that we talk about it?
All right, so y'all, today we will be discussing Janet Jackson's Damita Jo. Wait a minute, I don't got my vinyl, but anyway. I'm sorry. So we're gonna be talking about that, and the reason why, because I feel like a lot of people don't discuss this album except Calvin, in my opinion. So yo, we're gonna really talk about each song. We're really gonna get into it and all that good stuff. But I gotta give Calvin his stripes before we go in. I found him like 5-6 years ago with his R&B is Dead series. Somebody posted that, and he was feeling the same way I was feeling, because I thought, you follow people and you don't know if they feel the same way about you as R&B as everybody else. So when I found him, he was speaking my language, and I was like, he gets it. Like, and then after that, I started following that he did his comedically hard-headed podcast. And baby, let me tell you something. You will laugh, because when he ran away and failed, that was funny. That was hilarious. When he did when he got his root canal, y'all, that was another one that was funny. And then his Italy days. Y'all gotta, I would be at work like listening to this joint, and I would be like, I'm gonna get fired because I'm sitting here listen to this, and you get to learn more about him, like when he went to college and leaving home and all that. So it was so dope. Then he started to do these what happened things. And he did like a Brandy one from Full Moon to Aphrodisiac. Then I think his recent one now is TLC's Fan Mail to 3D. But the favorite that he did was what Janet did from All For You to Damita Jo. And I knew he would be the great one to definitely talk about this album for real. So like I said, we're gonna get into all of these, songs and all of that good stuff. But what I want to start with is, how did each of y'all feel about the All For You era as a whole before we get into Damita Jo? How did y'all feel about it?
Oh, me? Okay. It's the first era I remember like heavily following, because I was in Europe for the Velvet Rope tour, and the Janet tour. I remember bits. Not Janet tour. I'm sorry, the Velvet Rope era and the Janet era. The Janet era I remember bits of, but I was young, so I wasn't really following music the way you follow it now. And then Rhythm Nation, I can barely remember any of it. So All For You was that first era that I remember following. But it was interesting because it's an album that grew on me when I got older. It wasn't really my favorite when it came out, because I was so hooked to Velvet Rope. Like that's when I joined the nation, right? Sold. And I think All For You, I still think is a great piece of work, especially now that I've had some years. And I think when you get older too, the songs have a different meaning, or something different. But I remember I didn't even buy All For You when it first came out. Like, it had been out. I was excited because I watched the MTV Icon. I love the videos.
Yeah.
But I don't even think I bought the album until like a year or two later. It just, there wasn't like a sense of urgency with it. So she was around, I was paying attention, but I was impressed. But yeah, it was a good album.
Go ahead, sis.
No, off of you, I liked it. It was a very like poppy moment, and but it was cool. I don't, but I'm kind of like Calvin. I didn't buy that album right away, but it was very saturated in the public, the singles. So I like you said, that was a good way to put it. It wasn't a sense of urgency for me to run out and buy it, but I did eventually buy it. I enjoyed that album. Yeah.
Well, I did. I went the first day and got it. I got my dad to buy me this album because um it had the parental advisory on it again. And my mom was like, I'm not buying it for you. So I begged my dad to go get it for me. He went to Kmart and got the album for me. And he was like, "Oh, why you want me to, take you to school today?" Because I said I need you to take me to Kmart so I can go get this album because I can't get it. You know what I mean? So I got it. I loved it off the break. Again, I think that's the Janet fan in me that I loved it. Like, I would listen to it in my headphones. I took it to school. Like, that was all that I was listening to. But like you said, Calvin, I grew up to love it more. Because being 15 and the album, I'm like, okay. And like you said, I was so into the Velvet Rope. I was still there. You know what I mean? And that's a top 5 album of all time. So I was still there, but I was still loving it. So my mom knew how much I loved Janet. She surprised me with tickets to the All For You tour at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
So when I went, I when I went, I like lost it because I wanted to go to the Velvet Rope, but my mother was like, "You too young, and I'm not spending all of that money at Madison Square Garden for you to go." Them tickets was ridiculous, and my mom was like, "You too young anyway." But she let me go, and I was like, everything. It was just amazing to me. Like, I was like, I got to see her, and then when me and my mom left, she was in her limo and she waved at me. So I got that moment to see, like, I wasn't wearing the yellow glasses yet. So Janet probably don't even remember who the hell I was. So she waved, and I just remember me and my mom waving back, and it was just everything for me. So that era was everything for me. But again, now that I got older, I'll be like, okay, it was cool. You know what I mean? So it was like the icon did it. I think everything around that era did it for me. But like you said, and what happened, it kind of just ended. It kind of just was like someone to call my lover, then son of a gun. That's it. Like, it didn't have a smooth ending like all of Janet's albums normally do. You know what I mean? So it was like, okay. So then, y'all, we realized she's doing the Super Bowl, right? And it's like, I'm hyped because I'm like, oh, Janet's doing the Super Bowl. We must be got an album coming. That's what my mind was like. We must be got an album coming. What's this? Boom, boom, boom. She does the Super Bowl. Clearly, y'all, we know what happened, which was some bull crap. But then then the single gets leaked just a little while. How did y'all feel about the single when you heard
So
it?
backtracking, so the transitionary period between the end of the All For You era going into Damita Jo is when I started becoming like a super fan, because
Mm-hmm.
I got them into Janet, and then they became obsessed, and then it kind of brought me back in because I was impressed. I just, she was cool to me. Like, okay, she's dope. But you grew up in an era of Michael and Prince and Janet and Whitney, so all of these people are just everywhere. You're just used to them always being around.
Yeah.
So by that time, I was starting to become a little obsessed a bit, and so I remember because I was a sophomore in high school, and we had this computer class. I remember I changed all the backgrounds on everybody's computer in the class to these pictures of Janet just to remind everybody that she was going to be doing the Super Bowl. And like everybody was a Janet person. And look, Super Bowl happened and I had to go to school the next day. I was like, damn. But I remember just a little while leaking. And this is still dial up. So it took 20 minutes to hear the song. And I just kept hearing, and I'm like, what is this? Because at first I was not impressed at all. I'm like, Janet, now I need because this is like 04 now. We're in R&B bucket, so I need Janet to come.
Yes.
So I was like, okay. So I didn't like it at first for the first 2 or 3 days, and then it kind of got catchy. I was like, actually, this is cool. Actually, I like it. I'll take it, but it made me kind of anxious to see what the rest of the project was going to sound like because it made me feel like we were about to get All For You Part 2. And I was like, And like I said, I love All For You now. But at the time, I was so heavy into R&B. Like a lot of times if people went too pop, it kind of turned me off. So like when Destiny's Child came out with Survivor, I was like, oh, we were doing so good a minute ago. I was kind of like that with just a little while. I was like, Janet, and thinking back, because this is when she's about 37, and I'm starting to become aware that she's getting older too. And so, like, oh, and there's new people coming up. I'm like, Jenny, you got to come hard, man, because people gonna start moving on to the next person. But the song grew on me over time. It's not a favorite. It's just, I don't know. I think it symbolizes, and maybe we'll get into it later, just that they didn't know what direction they wanted to go in with the album.
So. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. I wasn't when I heard it. I was like, I was disappointed. That's what, with me, I was just like, Janet, where are we going? Like, it just didn't wow me. Like, when I heard All For You for the first time with the Glow of Love sample, I loved it. It was like, oh, you got me. Then when I heard this, Mind You, coming after Super Bowl, I'm like, we got to go hard or nothing. And when I heard this, I was just like, okay, but what's the album gonna give? You know what I mean? So that's kind of what I was with it.
You know, it's funny. When the very first time I heard All For You, I did not like it at first. I didn't like it for the same reason that you like it. I didn't like it because it used the Glow of Love sample.
Wow. And I know you love that song.
No, that's why, because that's one of my like pantheon songs. Like, you know. I mean, but quickly I loved it, but at first I was like,
you know. Oddly enough, it doesn't really matter that I was pressed about. A lot of people heard the song before the video. When I first heard the song, it was during making the video. That's when I first heard it, and I thought that was like
okay
ever. And so, if I can compare my initial reactions, I was in love with Doesn't Really Matter. All For You was cool because it took me a minute to get used to the new look, because I was like, what's going on here? Because I thought she was so gorgeous and Doesn't Really Matter. She's pretty in All For You, but it was very different. Like I was like, yeah. Like I just saw you a year ago. What is this? But again, All For You, the song you could not escape. It was everywhere. So then you learn
everywhere.
And yeah, she won me back over halfway through the era. And I was like, okay. And then when I finally bought the album, I was like, okay.
And what year was All For You?
2001.
I was grown as fuck. I was grown and paying bills, living on my own. So
the target audience. I was in like 7th or 8th grade. So
yeah, I was in high school. So yeah.
And even though, like I said, I never fell out of love with Janet. So, but I was old enough and aware through from Control on, I was old enough to be aware and a fan and had the music. So I had lived through each of those eras. So
yeah,
like, with a very sharp memory of it, because like I was like, I'd be out of elementary school. So, and that's about the time when you start really soaking in music and really paying attention. So by the time station, no, I was on that.
Okay. I mean, makes sense. Cause and this again, talking about Super Bowl, I knew something wasn't right, because after a while they stopped playing it. Just a little while used to get played on Z100 New York radio. It got leaked. They were playing it like crazy. And then the next thing you know, it just stopped.
And I was in
It,
Washington State at the time, and so Cube 93 was the big station. And I mean, they were playing it so much because they were also kind of making fun of the Super Bowl because at the time they didn't think it was a big deal. And so they made a whole parody of Escapade and called it like breast display. But then they were like, but we have Janet Jackson's new song, and they kept playing it. And then around that 3-week mark, they all of a sudden killed it. They used to do a bump it or dump it. And
yeah,
bump it or dump it when you premiere the song, not after it's already been in rotation for 3 weeks. So yeah,
right.
song. I was like, whoa. And the guy was like, it's so sad we have to do this to her. I'm like, wait a minute. And so yeah, I was like, okay, something's a little off here. And
Yeah.
when I was on the message boards and the forums, and I'm just reading what people are writing, and people are talking like the radio spins are dropping drastically this week. And I was like, oh, so there's like politics behind all this. So
and that's when I realized it was like, okay, the politics is happening, because then they jumped to I Want You. That's the single they started playing on urban radio. Because again, they wasn't playing Janet on like the Z100s and the KTUs, this New York station. Now she's just getting played on Hot 97, WBLS, Kiss. Even though that was her, she still was getting played on them stations, but they were also playing her on those. I was like, okay, the politics is happening. Uh-oh, Houston, we have a problem. This is when I knew, okay, this Super Bowl shit is really taking control of this whole narrative with Damita Jo. I said, uh-oh. And from there, it just went. It was like, yes.
It was a rough time period to be a Janet fan because we was just taking hits every 5 minutes. You just had
taking straight bullets. Oh my God. It was just like, wow. And then because by the time the album comes out, you know what I'm saying? Janet has a hit. You know what I'm saying? Like every time the album is about to hit, a song is already #1 now on the pop chart. She's killing it. She don't have none of this. So it was just like if you wasn't watching BET and all this, you didn't know when the album release was. You didn't know any of this. You would hear radio interviews, but again, she was stuck to these one stations in New York, and it was like, it just was like, uh-oh, Houston, we have a problem. But I was like, forget all that.
And she couldn't really promote it because she would go on stuff and all they wanted to talk about was the Super Bowl. If she got an album, I want to talk about that shit.
Yeah.
Over and over and over, just like it is now. Where somebody on the show and they ask them about the same situation, and it'd be some shit from 20 years ago, and they're still asking. We already know. Stop asking.
And even to your point with, because I Want You was only sent to R&B radio. It wasn't even sent to Rhythmic or sent to the other ones. And
so they did a Got Till It's Gone, huh?
Yeah.
Especially like where I'm from, in comparison, you start to see less and less R&B, urban AC radio stations the further west you go, not including California. California's gonna have a few adult stations, but you're talking about Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Denver, all of these places in that Midwest region. There's not a lot of R&B radio stations, period. So really, if there's no pop market, no rhythmic stations playing it, then a lot of people had no idea she even had anything out. They just saw her name on Fox News all day, or somebody dragging her. And so outside of those major metropolis areas where there's large Black populations, a lot of folks had never even heard I Want You. So like where I was from, nobody knew the song at the time because it wasn't on the radio at all.
Damn. See, I thought actually it was being played on all R&B stations since I was like,
he was in New York, right? So y'all are the melting pot of everything. But
right,
folks walking in my neighborhood, so it wasn't gonna be no R&B station over there. So yeah.
And JR and I talk about this a lot. Every region plays different. Then,
especially back then, before the national syndicated playback.
Before it came one big, animal. But it was regional radio because JRU would be like, so then when we talk about SWV and you were like, oh, they play such and such all the time. I said, they never played that here. They played this. And you're like, for real? Yeah.
So it was definitely channel band because it was so bad, at least where I was at. They weren't even playing her in like the old school lunch mixes anymore. They had yanked her out of rotation. So it was channel band that it was like, we're not playing her, period. So it was like not even the old school songs were getting spins and stuff anymore. So she definitely it was a dark time period. I feel like the only good press she had during that era was her going on the Ryan Seacrest show. That was the one show where
Yeah.
was about the Super Bowl. You know, she had the two performances. They were really trying to roll it out. Jay Leno was a decent one too, but that was kind of towards the end of the promotion. And I would also say Ellen. Those are like the only three because Letterman was a disaster.
Oh, that was horrible. Oh,
like, yeah, it was not good. At least not in the U.S. You know, marks overseas weren't pressed at all, but yeah, not a lot of good TV press. SNL was cool because they could make fun of it and all, but
right.
SNL, I don't think they realized it was about to get that serious. So it definitely seemed like by the time SNL came out, everybody thought, okay, we're gonna laugh about it and move on now. And it's like, oh, you got jokes, huh, Miss Jackson? You wanna laugh? Okay. Right?
Oh, you think this funny? Oh, okay. All right. We got something for you. So the album comes out, right? I know I got it the first week because, mind you, we on Confessions. Usher is killing it.
The week before.
It was like what, like it was 2004 was his year. Period. Like he couldn't be stopped like at all. You know what I mean? But I was like, I'm a Janet fan. It comes out on March the 30th. I'm going to get this joint. So when I got it, right, I actually was like, wow, Janet took a risk with this album. When my first listen, I was like, this was a risk taking album to me because when I would listen to it in the car, it had the bounce like Rhythm Nation did to me. Because you remember how when Control came out, it still had a bump, but it was something different about Rhythm Nation. It was just the production was different. So when it got to the Damita Jo, I was like, "Woo!" Janet got these. This bass is knocking like this production is hitting. I was like, "Oh." She's like, and knowing that she's working with different artists, I was like, oh, Jam and Lewis is still there. They still the foundation of it all. But then her working with, Scott Storch and Dallas Austin, and she worked with Rockweiler and again. And I'm like, oh, so I thought this was a risk taking album, and I thought it was dope. I was like, I'm good as a Janet fan. I'm good with it. You know what I mean? I'm 18 when this album comes out. Yes, I'm 18. So I'm understanding it during this time because I'm doing things now that I can get it. You know what I mean? I'm understanding it now. You know what I mean? But that was kind of like my first listen. And I was like, I think Janet took a risk on this one. And I think she did great with it to me. Did y'all think so?
Oh, I love this album down. I love, but I never really talk about it with people because people will just say they didn't like it, but they the people do. They say they don't like stuff, but they never listen to it. And I'm like, oh well, what you start asking questions and you realize they ain't heard it.
Right.
It's like,
right.
yeah, you. Why do people do that?
That's that. I would call that herd mentality. They hear somebody else say they don't like something, they all jump on the bandwagon. And yeah, it's just everybody. Because I was like, all right.
Instead of just like it's so easy to be like, what you think about Damita Jo? You could even say, you know what, I ain't heard it in a long time, or I ain't heard it, or I never checked that one out. That's you can just say, I say all the time when we talk about art, I'm like, oh, that album is my blind spot. Like I missed it. I didn't, or I never dug into it. I listened to it when it came out and never. And so that irks me. But anyway, that was a sidebar. But I loved it from when I first heard it. It's a feel good album. It's just a positive, happy, not no whole bunch of heartbreak on it. Like it's just, and anytime somebody make a song that is about music, you got me. So like R&B Junkie, like I love a song that's about a love song to music. I love that.
Right.
I was excited for it to come out. And I remember a few of the songs, they had a few snippets had leaked out. So I remember hearing All Night Don't Stop. I remember hearing Strawberry Bounce and Spending Time with You. And I was like, okay, so she's definitely going a bit more R&B in comparison to the last album. So I was like, okay, I'm excited to hear this. And actually, I talked about it in my podcast. The week that it had come out was my spring break, and I had all these elaborate plans to be in the house and turning up and partying. And because my dad was working in Alaska at the time, so my mom was like, "I'm gonna go see my man for all the spring break." So I thought I had the house to myself, and she was like, my coworker, so she made me stay with this old white man, me and my brother, and we had to stay at his house for 9 days. And so when I tell you that album in them headphones, because when I didn't want to be rude, but when I rode in his truck, he was ZZ Tops had just been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And so it was ZZ Tops in the car all day. So I started carrying my CD player. And so that's when I really got to sit with the album because I ain't had nothing else to do but sit in this man's house. And man, I played that album out like on repeat over and over and over, especially like the first half of it. I enjoyed it. It was a fun listen. And I don't know it because nobody else is listening to it. And every time I try to bring it up to folks, because again, it was Usher time. So, they're like, yeah, that's cool. But have you heard Burn yet? Like, okay, yeah, I like Burn too, but we can listen to both. They're like, no, we gonna play this one in the car. Friends at the time, he was enjoying it because he was a huge Ashanti fan. So he and I used to have these Janet Jackson versus Ashanti arguments. So because Janet was on this decline, he was just petty because. So he'd be like, nope, we're not listening to her in the car. Nope, and so it's so mad because I think Concrete Rose was already out by then.
It came out in December of 2004.
Something was going on, but so maybe he was still playing chapter 2. But I used to be like, come on, man, we can mix it up a little bit because this is, nobody even had iPods like that yet. We were still having the CDs with the mixes. So I'm like, man. And then I remember finally he realized the album was too bad. So he's like, okay, you make me a mix. And he was like, I want these songs on it. And it was like 4 of the songs from the album. I'm like, no, you need to go buy it. All the stuff she going through, you trying to just download the songs. Like, we used to take this stuff so serious back then. But no, you gotta buy it. No. Talk to all that trash. You better buy that album.
Right. Oh my God. So okay, cool. So all three of us actually enjoyed the album on the first listen. I mean, Calvin, that was the only thing you could listen to, and at least you loved it. So that's yes. So let's get into this album. So we start with Looking for Love, the intro of the album. You know what I mean? One thing about the Janet Jackson, she gonna give you an intro with some interludes and all that. So I got this with this Looking for Love. I thought it was very vulnerable. I think it felt vulnerable to me, especially when she was like, we're vulnerable, we're sensitive. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, Janet, it was giving me the vulnerability of like how morning started. Like the music of it just gave me that feeling of morning and kind of like the intro to All For You before she starts talking. You know what I'm saying? But it just kind of gave me that sensitive thing. And you need that with a song when you say looking for love. It has to be sensitive. You gotta be vulnerable. And it had that music, that's what gave me that. So I was like, all right, Janet, okay, we're vulnerable. I'm a vulnerable dude, so I'm in. I'm already in. So I love how she opened it with, looking for love. I thought it was great.
At first, the song was gonna start with, that beat picks up while she's talking.
Yes.
I thought it was about to turn into a song, and I was like, oh, okay, no, it's not. All right, cool, it's gonna be this. It was fine. I'll still take it. So it worked.
And it's pretty short. So yeah.
It's short intro, like, all right, Janet, say her little few words, and then we go into Damita Jo. I said, okay, Janet, because she said, I want a nasty boy to put it on me good. Miss Janet don't, but Damita Jo do. I said, oh, okay, Janet's starting out sexy. You know what I mean? She's starting out letting you know who the hell Damita Jo was, because again, I can always go back to the album. You know what All For You started with. You Ain't Right. Janet talking her shit at somebody. Mm. But she's talking about, well, if you a Janet fan, you know who she was talking about. But with this, it was like, okay, I'm loving it, the beat, and my mom liked it. She loved it because we actually played the CD because I went to Circuit City and got it, came home, put it into our DVD player, which had our big sound system on. So as soon as Damita Jo came in and then that beat came in, my mom was like, "Oh, okay, Janet, okay," and it had that knock to it. Like you said, Calvin, it was very R&B-ish. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, Janet's leading that way. That's where we going. Because You Ain't Right was definitely pop-ish. You know what I'm saying? Very pop-ish. This had a beat to it, and it was knocking. And then Janet bring you with the harmonies, of course, and the stacking, that she's the queen of stacking before B Rocker. Know this, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And Janet just was doing her on it. And I guess she was letting us know that Damita Jo is a nasty chick. So get ready. That's what I got from it. That's what I got from Damita Jo. So I love the record. Love it.
I mean, that's the same vibe I get. Like, ooh, sexy. But I think probably why I go so up for this album is because it is so R&B, especially coming off of All For You, which is very poppy. And I prefer R&B, and it's a lot of grooves on this album, and it's and there's old school samples on this old school R&B sampling on this album. So I guess that's why it really resonated.
Yeah.
I like it was such a hard hitting in your face track to kick the album off. Because at first I thought Just Blaze did that song at first when I first heard it, just by the production. I was like, this kind of sounds like something Jay-Z would have came out with that on, like if he had another blueprint out at the time. But no, it's like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and Avila Brothers. So I was like, okay. And yeah, so I really like just how boom in your face. I was like, okay, that's the way to kick off the album. It's just letting you know, okay, this is what's coming. And I'm like, okay, I like it. And so it goes back to what she was saying with, okay, you knew this is going to be a nice R&B gem. Because again, going back from hearing Just a Little While Leak, I had no idea where the album was going. And yeah. So, okay. And then I remember looking at the track list and seeing Just a Little While as the last song. I said, okay, so, and if this is Damita Jo and this is, okay, what's the in between about to sound like? We about to take a few trips. So, okay, I'll take it.
Me too. Me too. Me too. So then we go to I love this record. Because it's such a rock edge, and Janet is a rocker. As much as people want to say this woman loves a rock record, and I thought that Jimmy and Terry did it. They kind of produced the vocals on it. If I'm right, or I'm not sure, because I know it's her and Dallas for sure. Right, because I don't want to be.
Only Dallas is credited.
Oh, only Dallas. Oh, yeah. All right. All right. So this just let me know that Janet was owning her sexuality on this. She was owning her sexuality on this. And it was just like, when she got to that bridge and said, "There's nothing worse than a man out of touch," I was like, talk your shit, Damita Jo. Okay. So going from what she said on the song Damita Jo and then to go to this. You know what I mean? It was like, all right, we on the sexy vibe, for real, because how she ended. Relax, it's just sex.
That was kind of like that was added after the Super Bowl controversy. Like, y'all doing too much. Relax. Like,
you think so?
I mean, I think it still fits with the song, but it also fits with what was happening. Like, okay, relax. It's just like, and yeah, they both was doing too much. But no, I love that one too. The production on that, and remember too, because she had to come out with the cleaner version of the album. So the clean version was called Exhibition. And they just took off the S's. I was like, okay, because I want to explore you. I was like, okay, now they sound like the BET movies where they got to change the cuss words. Like, why don't you take but home? Like, I was like, okay. And it's funny because my mom was such a church lady at the time. She did not like Janet because she was like, there's no reason for you to be that pressed about that woman. She ought to be ashamed. So when she saw the album cover up, and of course, she ain't got no clothes on. And then she's reading the back of it out, Sexhibition, more. Oh, like, oh, Lord, this is what you want to listen to. All the decent people out there, and this is what you following. She know her butt old because, 38 was so old back then. But no, Sexhibition, I think, is a great follow-up. Like, the album is very hard-hitting, like, with some of those tracks. That's another in-your-face track. A lot of my favorite Janet songs, if I'm not including the grooves and the ones in the good pockets, are the ones that are really just boom in your face. So like a Trust,
Yeah.
all those ones that really, really hit. I would like for her, this is unrelated, release a studio version of how she's been doing Black Cat lately. I was like, I will happily take that. What she's been doing on the tour, and the mic is on, which has surprised me on that part. So yeah, I would love a studio version of that Black Cat rendition she's been doing for 2023.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. I'm glad you said it because I put that on social media because I would love that to be released. Because again, like I said, Jan is a rocker, and what she been doing vocally on this tour, I was like, "Come on, mother!" That's all I kept saying at the.
Oh, she done had enough. Put my mic on. I've had enough.
I'm tired of y'all saying I whisper. I'm done. I'm done with that mess. That's what she said.
And I was so pressed, I started watching in different cities. I was like, oh no, this is actually her doing that. All right.
Yes. Yep. Yes. And I was like, yes, Janet, yes. But yes, I like Sexhibition. Sexhibition, like you said, is such a hit. Like it comes in, like off the break.
And I feel like this is kind of the start. Well, I'm not gonna say it's the start of the trend because it's just now happening, but I was a little side eyeing a bit because both of those songs were really short. I'm like, why are these songs so short? Just those two though. But now that we've gotten into this current space, the songs have gotten even shorter, so I can't even complain. But Sexhibition, I wish it could have gone on for like another 20 seconds, but she gave you just enough. So then you got to play it again. So it works.
Right. I agree. So Strawberry Bounce.
That's JR's favorite song.
And you lying. And you're lying, and you're lying through your teeth.
I had to get you back I had to get you back because you did that to me. What was yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you right. You right. You right. My bad. You right. Cause I'm about to be like, when? Yeah. Sex Strawberry Bounce. I thought it was a cute song, but this is one of the songs that I skip. This is the song that I skip. I'm like, the Saturday Night Live performance I thought was cute. I thought was a cute performance. You know what I mean? It was cool. But Strawberry Bounce, I'm just like, it just didn't do much for me. I was just like, and then maybe I was getting tired of Jay at the time. So hearing him in it, it was just probably adding the more annoyance to it. So I was just like, I'm like, okay, cool. All right, you can have it. So I don't know how y'all felt, but
that song don't bother me, but it's probably my least favorite song on the album. But I don't dislike it. I don't skip it, but I'm not going up for it because I don't really like the production, but I like Janet on it.
The dance.
I like the way she's singing, and I like the melody, but I don't like the production.
I was on a bunch of dance teams at the time, so that was a fun one to do routines with. I like the bridge of the song. If there was a part I didn't like, I wasn't crazy over how the verses were. And that's only because she was singing so hard on Sexhibition. So I was like, all right, we're gonna keep it going. So when she went into the light pocket, I'm like, wait a minute. We know Janet loves doing a nice little coup. She'll give you a little coup on a song, but I was like, it's too early in the album for that. So the song I like, especially for 2004, but I don't play it as much. But normally, if I put on Damita Jo, it's because I'm in like cleaning up the house mode, so the whole album's gonna play anyway. So I have a song on the album I dislike a lot more, so I will give this song some grace.
Oh wow, okay.
This didn't even make the album. I don't know what the Okay.
Okay. Oh Lord, I'm feeling a favorite of mine. So we go to My Baby. I love this record. This is my favorite Kanye produced song on this album. I wish if they were trying to pull straws as a single, this should have been the single to me. It's the feeling of the album to me. Everybody was using Kanye at this time. You had Keisha Cole, you had Brandy, you had all the girls using Kanye. He just came out with College Dropout. I'm like, this song is so cute to me. You know what I mean? I wish we could have even got a performance with Kanye and Janet or a cute little video with them. Like I thought we could have got that with this. It has that flavor to me. You know what this song gave me? Like of Feel So Right to me. Because it felt so right. Like it felt so right to me, this song. And I was just like, and you know, Kanye, while she's singing her verses, he coming out, don't it feel so good? Don't it feel like I just that little part there, I just everything about it was just great. And Hot 97 at the time was playing this. They were playing this. So it was like, oh, okay, is this the single? But it wasn't. But like you said at the time, they were just trying to hopefully something will stick. That's what they was like, hopefully something will stick. And I love this song, and I wish we could have gotten this on the Damita Jo tour. If the blacklist wouldn't have happened, we could have got this, and she could have brought him out in Chicago, and it'd been a whole big thing. And it could have been on YouTube. I mean, she really created YouTube as quiet as it's kept. But you know, at the end of the day, I just love this record. This record is, I love it. I love it. This was the song that I actually kept playing over and over again when I was listening to the album. Love my baby. Love it.
I liked it. I even like the Selena Johnson in the background. And again, that same hating friend I had was like, "How's she gonna let somebody else out sing her on her song?" I'm like, first of all, that's a background effect. She ain't singing on the song. Oh, my friend used to let Janet have it. But no, I did enjoy that one. I thought it would have been a really good, even if it wasn't pushed as a full single, it would have been good for like radio promo in the spring or the end of summer going into fall. Would have been a really great kind of promo single. So it fit. I just think the label was scared because I Want You didn't do what it needed to do. So they're like, we don't want to go with another mellow kind of mid tempo.
Right. Right.
It was a fresh sounding song at the time. So
Yeah, for the longest time, I thought it was a single because I did actually hear it on the radio.
Ooh, so they weren't playing in North Carolina too.
You know, they won't play it like crazy, but I heard it. You know, so you know, back when DJ or radio make their own single, it's like, no, we like this one, so that's what we.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right. It was such a missed opportunity with this record to me. And again, the whole the whole Super Bowl thing kind of really killed the run and the things that this album could have done. You know what I mean? Like it was so many opportunities that could have been, and and I'm like, you had good music on this album, y'all. Like it's like, can we just focus on that? Like, okay, a titty, can we move on? Like, oh, you got good songs on this.
if had that had happened in modern times, it wouldn't have happened in modern times. But let's just say like the world was set up the way it is now with social media. I don't think it would have had the same backlash. And actually, I bring this up in my Mariah, so it happened. But that's still the era where mainstream media and the powers that be get to determine who's going to be hot and who's not. In modern times, social media can kind of change the narrative and say, no, this is who we're rocking behind at the moment. So like, look at how TikTok can make a random song blow up out of nowhere to the point where artists go in and change what their single is going to be because this is what TikTok is doing. Or when they've tried to kind of blacklist different artists or push people out, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, whatever, YouTube, people can almost revive the career. So like there's so many people right now who in 2004 couldn't sell out a theater and now they're pretty much doing arena tours and stuff because social media has been able to kind of revamp the image of so many people. So like I don't think, and this, please, I hope these people don't fight me watching. Like, I don't even think like the Jodeci, SWV, and Drew Hill tour would have been able to do arenas in 2004 just because of how people were kind of moving. But today, because social media gives people a chance to be reintroduced to different acts, or even Escape. If Escape would have tried to do the Great Escape tour in 20, like they did in 2017, in 2004, no arenas would have came. And it's only because this is when mainstream media got to determine who's hot, who's not. That's kind of what they did with Mariah after Glitter. That's why I think Charm Bracelet wasn't what it was going to be because they were like, So it's kind of like, I think if Damita Jo or the Super Bowl would have happened after the, emergence of social media, the backlash would have been as bad at all. But that's that.
Yeah, I think if the Super Bowl thing would have happened now, it would have propelled the album. Mm-hmm. It would have made it bigger.
It would have been a TikTok challenge.
You don't have to deal with the censorship things anymore because everybody can make their own show. So, okay, mainstream media ain't talking about it. Well, I can get on my little R&B representatives to talk about it. So.
Yeah. But I think too, and Jimmy said this on a show. He said he wished they would have waited. They would just wait a year, just wait a year, let all this blow, let whatever, you know what I'm saying. Janet kind of got out of sight, don't be seen, let them do all of this, and then come out maybe a year or two later, maybe then everything. Because he said he was trying to be like, yo, we do not need to bring out an album right now, like, and the label was like, no, we need to bring this out. You know, once the Super Bowl came out, that's when kind of the rollout began. So it was like, we done put money up, politics done went into this, we got an album to release. And Jimmy was just like, I don't think it was the best idea because, again, all her questions, Super Bowl, what happened with Super Bowl? Blah, 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 blah. He was like, it wasn't going to be about the music. So I kind of agree. I think we should have maybe waited because I might have got more love, maybe.
If I could get in a time machine, and I talked to you about this the other day, JR, it would have been Usher up there with her, not that.
Come on, I'd say that all the time.
Yes.
Man, first of all, because I was like, she didn't need to bring out anybody. She was fine by herself. Because I wish she could have had her own by herself. Like, because remember, she was on the ticket. It was like Jessica Simpson was on there, Kid Rock, Diddy, and all them. Cool, but she should have had her own thing by herself. Because I would have replaced Rock Your Body with If, or even if she wanted to premiere All Night Don't Stop and be like anything. But and also, I don't even think people realize, even her team realized how big the Super Bowl was becoming. Because I do feel like Michael had that big, massive one, and you had a few people in between, but we had a lot of very yin kind of years that were not super great, right?
Tell it.
Because even because the year before Shania Twain, and she's cool. I've watched hers, but hers is real safe. It's not really eventful, and so it's like after Janet's, and then everybody got in trouble, and we had to sit through all the nursing home acts for a few years. You notice when they finally let the performers come back, Super Bowl became a big thing. It's like top tier stage, LED lights. It's the biggest stage you get on. And now we have Black Eyed Peas, Beyonce, Madonna, Katie, all of these big Bruno. It became a bigger thing. Like, I think when Janet did it, it wasn't as big of a deal, which is why I think, as great as the performance is, I would have loved more of a live sound instead of it sounding like just CD playing. That was killing me. But yeah, I just think, you know, she was like, I'm gonna do my little Super Bowl real quick and we'll bring out Justin. Justin ain't even get dressed up for nothing. He came out there, didn't even shave. All right, I'm gonna do this little Janet show real quick for y'all, and we're gonna get on out of here. So, still a great performance, still a great show, but she could have carried that by herself. She didn't need any help. But like she said, Usher would have been perfect, especially with Confessions, which was just about to drop. Like, because Yeah was already out. It was climbing. I think at the time of the Super Bowl, Yeah was already in the top 10 on Billboard. So that would have been brilliant. But
and I told Elise, I was like, yo, to have Janet and Usher doing the A-Town stomp at the Super Bowl, that would have been nuts. At the end, they doing, you know, the end and doing all that, and that would have been epic. I was like, ugh.
But you know, but then also I think about it, the reason why it was Justin is because they won't Blackity Black yet.
Yeah. And y'all got Beyonce doing the national anthem too. It's too many of y'all in here.
Yeah.
Mix it up some.
We've reached our quota. Reached our nigga quota.
Right, yeah, y'all doing too much.
Yeah, that the politics went into that too. So, so y'all right, y'all absolutely right.
And too many. Somebody got to get cut. So throw Justin in there.
Oh, she just should have been like, I'm like you said, do it by yourself. Like you said, she could have did If, or like you said, All Night. I think she had it. You could have premiered that, and it could have what?
Because everybody was trying to figure out what song is that, and you send it right to radio the night of. Here y'all go.
Yep.
And then All Night. Well, we'll get to All Night, but yeah, it would have been to go back.
Don't it make you mad again?
Stressful years, because we used to take this stuff so serious as teenagers. Like, I mean, you'd be almost getting in fights after school over this crap. It was not just man.
Yeah.
If I was her, I would have toured. I would have still done a Damita Jo tour, but only in Europe and Asia. I would have bypassed America to rebuild anticipation. Plus, I do think, had she done a Damita Jo tour, I don't know if she would have had her best ideas, because I feel like when there's not a lot of time in between shows, you kind of get almost a rehash. Because I feel like as much as I enjoy the All For You show, I feel like it mirrors so much of the Velvet Rope tour and so many aspects of it, but it's not executed in the same way. Now, thank God for whoever has been uploading All For You tour full shows from other cities outside of Hawaii, because I watched the Kansas City one and I was like, oh, this is very different from the DVD. This is actually like there's an extra band member. Everything sounds richer. So I was like, okay, by the time she got to Hawaii, it was like, let's get this on over with so I can go home. I'm over this crap. So, but I think, yeah, a Damita Jo tour, I think would have come too soon after all, because All For You tour wrapped in 2002. So just a year and a half wouldn't have been enough time for her to really like, when Janet is hungry, that's when you get her best shows. Like, that's why I think everything from Unbreakable onwards has been really, really good, because she had all those years off from touring. So the ideas and the let me pull in songs I don't normally perform and let's rearrange things. Like you've seen more creativity with kind of just the set list in the shows. I feel like if we would have done a Damita Jo tour, it would have kind of been the same formula she had followed for Velvet Rope and All For You. And people are like, all right, you got to do something different now.
That's true. Because she even said during the All For You, she was like, I was tired. She was like, y'all, I was tired. She was like, that's why she brought everybody to Hawaii, and I need to rehearse and do all that. You know what I mean? Because yeah, I think if we would have gotten to Damita Jo now, Calvin, that you said it, it would have definitely mirrored All For You. So we wouldn't have got the creativity that we're getting now, because it's very creative now. You know what I mean? Like to see, like, because you went to the Rock For You tour, which I'm listen.
I tell y'all, I feel so bad for anybody who didn't see that show. That I didn't. I didn't. That was my first Janet tour, because my mom, like I said, she was not a fan, and you were not going to know All For You tour because she saw Rope Burn and thought that was too much. And so I remember when the HBO thing for All For You was on TV. You know how like when you, I ain't telling all my business, but like when you were a kid watching stuff you weren't supposed to watch, you'd have the TV on like previous channel to Disney. I had to do that with the All For You tour, because when she started Would You Mind, I had to like, let me put it on Disney as the backup channel just in case my mom would come downstairs, because I was like, this is like straight porn at this point. And I had that TV so low. And it was like 3 or 4 friends were all in like 3-way and everything. I had that TV so low because I was so afraid my mom was gonna come downstairs. Like, yeah, but that was such a Rock With You tour was such a great show, and Rock With You tour has my favorite performance of All Night Don't Stop, because if you could be in the arena, the way that the entire arena just thumped through all that, and that's when Janet was still doing her dancing. You know, she's still dancing now, but she's only gonna dance with intention. She's gonna pace and do some pacing, and okay, 8 count right here, boom, 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 and she's gonna walk the point.
She'll give the sassy walk.
She be walking. I'm like, where are you going?
Like that.
Because she be getting her steps in.
Am I lying?
Walk with conviction. Go. I'm like, okay, go on, Janet. Yes. And she said, I'll give you a little piece here and there. But the days of even the blinks being choreographed are gone. And it's fine. I accept it, because she done gave us more than enough. But yeah, Janet gonna get them.
Because we are not getting the whole thing to if we no.
All Night Don't Stop, she just eats it, because she went from she did Together Again, went right into Rock With You, the song, did all the same choreography from the video, and jumped right into All Night Don't Stop. I was like, God, I wish more people could have saw that. I'm so pissed there's no DVD of that tour. The one that's on YouTube from the soundboard is cool, but it's missing stuff because it's only the soundboard, so it don't sound right. So you got to watch the bootleg version from Staples Center. But man, that is, I became a super stan after that show. Like, I've got on everybody's nerves.
I see. I was in college, so I couldn't afford it. I'm sorry.
Thanks to her canceling shows, so I already had the DC tickets. And then there was something with the Thurgood Marshall Scholars that she was supposed to be a part of, but because she kept postponing the dates, New York's date got moved, and it clashed with something with the Thurgood Marshall Scholars thing that she was supposed to be a part of. So she ended up donating tickets to everybody because she couldn't make that event because she had to be at Madison Square Garden. So then I got tickets to New York. I was like, okay, I'm gonna see her twice. So balanced out, and we got decent seats. It wasn't in the front, but we weren't bumping our head on the roof either. So I got to see it 2 times. So I was like, all right.
See, I was in because I was in PG at the time, because I went to college in Laurel. So it was like I wanted to go to that tour, but college I could not afford nothing but no oodles and noodles and bread. That's all I could afford at the time. So
Like, please. and they're like, you can't spend more than $200. Okay, that's fine. This is when tickets weren't stupid prices yet. So I was like, okay, $200 got me a good seat right in front of the pit. So she picked the dude 6 seats over from me for discipline. I would have been
What?
too. She picked me because I don't want the world to see my reaction. So I'd have been too embarrassed to go up there. But man, that's my tour. Anyway, let me stop getting off track.
Yeah, it's all good.
What we
It's
do.
all,
It is what we do.
yes.
Her show back because she'd been postponing, and we didn't even know she was gonna be at our show because she was supposed to do North Carolina and left the people at the venue. I'm like, damn, Janet, come on now. And this is when media takeout was a thing, so they were cooking her on there so bad. So I didn't know, and then I just remember I saw Jermaine Dupri on them crutches walking in. I was like, oh, we won't get a show, y'all. She gonna be here.
Love it. Love it. Oh man. All right, so we go to the islands interlude. Now you know we all know that Janet loves the islands. So she lets you know this is what I like, this is the feeling. You know, to me, she takes me back to Hold On Baby interlude from the Janet album. So it
Janet,
gives you that type of feeling. And then, you know, right then and there, you know, she goes into spending time with you. And now we're on a run. The run begins. The run begins, man. Spending time with you is such a groove. The production is smooth. You know what I mean? It's still hard, but it's still so smooth. And it's just like a and then it's such a groove for real, for real. And when she did it for the State of the World tour, I lost it. Because I went to the one at the Verizon Center and I took two of my best friends with me. And when she started doing that, I was like, oh my God, wait. And then they look and they like, what song is this? What?
So the crowd was like, what? Because she was pulling out all these nuggets that only stands were going to appreciate. Because I remember following the tour on Twitter on opening night. And I'm like, she's doing Island Life. What? Like, oh, I couldn't wait. And so yeah, that whole segment, like Island Life, 24 play, the body that loves you, that where are you now? That crowd was like, so she not doing Let's Wait a While?
24 play?
Huh?
They did 24 play?
Listen, when I tell you that's my favorite Janet song, period, of all the slow 24 play, not the music video version, but the original one, Design of a Decade.
Design of a Decade. I have that CD. I bought it first.
Love song. Oh, it's so good. So when she did that, and she actually had B Slade was some of the background vocals in some of that was mixed in too with the. I was like, okay, that's cool. So, that was so good. But yeah, that crowd was a little confused. They said, I was like, y'all better enjoy this. See y'all.
Right.
During the dark years, she would have already did those songs. We could have stuck with some of the hits. But hey, y'all jumped ship, so you're gonna get whatever she sings. So
boom.
And JR, I love your besties as if they were mine, but you know they don't care nothing about no deep cut from nobody. Tell me I'm lying.
And you're not. Love them to death, but they don't. They don't.
Like, that ain't, whatever.
That ain't that. Yeah, because I'm sitting there like losing my complete mind. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I know she's not doing this, and you hear the intro of it come in, and I was like, oh my God, you know what I mean? And then it takes me back to when I first went my first trip to the Bahamas in 2012. And I finally went overseas with my best friend, one of them that was there. And I went over there and I just remember I said, the album that I want to listen to was we was on the beach sitting there. I was like, I want to listen to Damita Jo. And I went right to the islands interlude, going into spending time with you. And I just remember like, this is how this feels. Like, wow, okay. I'm just grooving with my headphones in and I'm just sitting on the beach chair and I'm just in another world. And anytime I listen to spending time with you, it takes me back to my first trip to the Bahamas. So then for her to do it at the concert, it was like, oh my God, okay, Janet, like I feel it. I feel the islands here. You know what I mean? So Yes,
Your
it
little full
was
circle moment. Yeah.
full circle moment, man, and it was great.
Twice. I'll go by myself first just to get all my standing out, and then I'll bring a friend that's probably, you got the friends that know the big hits. So like that tour I saw 3 times because I went to Essence too. So I know I went to Verizon Center by myself. Then I went to Baltimore. I took my godmom because it was her birthday, and she like Janet. Okay, cool. But she likes, the Janet that she hears on the radio, so she ain't know half the song. When she doing Rhythm Nation, I was like, hopefully not this early in the show. The show's over. So yeah, and then Essence, me and one of my good friends went, and so Essence is already a rough crowd because these are not diehards in the stands. They're just here to have a good time. And Janet was closing. This is 2018, not the one from 2022, and she was the closer for that Sunday. So people already got to go to work and stuff. So people leaving early. Once she started doing Island Life and Feel So Right and stuff on the second leg of State of the World Tour, they were like, I don't know what she's saying, but we gotta go. I was like, y'all gonna miss the best parts. Like, stay.
Come back, please. Y'all.
Oh well.
Yeah, that's such a phenomenon because there's certain artist concerts. Yeah, I bring, any of my friends, and then there's some concerts I'm like, no, I have to go to that by myself because they're gonna fucking blow me.
Yes.
And it pissed me off because I am gonna be standing up the entire show and I am gonna be singing every song. Like I was at Tony.
Oh, I went to that.
I was going by myself because no, I need to sing all the deep cuts. The people around me were asking me what song is it because they're like, "Oh, I like that song. What song?" I had a whole conversation with a girl because she was like, "I don't know this song, but this is beautiful. What is it?" She's like, "I can tell you know everything."
That was
like,
when
you have no idea.
couldn't keep it to myself. That was my
Lord have mercy.
When they added that in, I was like, all right. That is my ultimate favorite. Even on that album, that run from Slow Wine to Couldn't Keep It to Myself, them 3 back to back to back. Just
I like this. I know I like this guy.
I knew because when I knew I went to the concert and they opened with it, because I went out to the one out here at Lyric. You was the one that Calvin. You was the one that you was like, they're gonna take your phone, so be prepared.
For nothing. I was like, dang, man.
I was like, and it's top 5 concert for me because I got to focus on them. No recording, none of that. You know what I mean? So I got to really focus. So when they did Keep It to Myself, I was like, Police is going to flip. And I couldn't tell her because she told me, she was like, JR, I know you going before me. Do not tell me nothing. And mind you, me and her talk about everything. So I was so like, Elise. And I was like, damn it, I can't tell her nothing.
I was like, don't you do it. Don't you do it. I will fight you.
You did.
Every time. The Together Again tour was the first.
He didn't tell me nothing. Like, I mean nothing.
Because every time she go on tour, I'm like, I'm not gonna look on Twitter. I try to I give in like 5 minutes later. But the Together Again tour, I actually did good. I had her muted on everything, so I didn't really know the set list. I only saw like a clip or 2 here and there. So
yes,
you got to really just get a surprise. So I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yes. So yes, I love spending time with you. It's such a nice little groove. You know what I mean? And I love that how Janet gives you an interlude to kind of let you know where you're going. You know what I mean? So then she does it with the magic hour.
Now that's
Janet just
because I just like the chords.
I do too. I thought it was me because I love the chords on Magic Life. Like Magic Hour, I'm sorry. And the way it comes in, and it's just like, even though I always have an interlude with Janice talking, I'll be like, what's she talking about? This one, I really wasn't concerned about what Janice was talking about because them chords was getting me. You know what I mean? I was just like, oh God, musically, this Janice giving, yo, for real.
At first.
But back to spending time with you, I didn't think about this, but my favorite songs on this album are the Villa Brother ones.
I like them. Did you guys ever hear the song they had? They have a song called "I Want You," and it's Janet songs on it with them.
No,
I hear that version. I know that song is like "I Want You."
So
yeah. I didn't know that. I play that at my bar every fucking night. That's my shit.
Yeah. Maybe we might have different versions. I had some bootleg version when it first leaked, but it's her on the backgrounds with them, especially in the beginning before the verses start, and you kind of hear these vocals in the background saying like love or something, and it's her. So I was like, okay, all right. It makes me think of Making Love in the Rain.
Oh,
I play that song. I love that song. But I just never really like paid attention because I okay.
And
that's online, Calvin.
want you not like she's in
I
that.
want you to walk me. That one
Yeah, she's in
with the
that.
Marvin like interpolation thing going on. That song you talking
Mm-mm. Yeah.
about? Yeah, that has the.
I don't know.
Ain't nobody knew about that song. You better go off. I like this. I like this guy.
Yeah, she's all in the mix on the background. But you know, I thought when they were doing the track listing, I was convinced that um the Islands interlude was supposed to come before Island Life, and the
Like,
Magic Hour came before Spending Time with You. Because you have the Magic Hour, and now you're gonna spend time with the person, and then ooh, the islands, Island Life. But I think it works the way it is better. So
yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe it was intended to, and then sonically it just made more sense.
Yes, because as soon as that joint come in, and then the beat for Island Life comes in, it's kind of like boom. You know what I mean? And I was just like, I knew off the break when I heard this, I was like, yeah, this is not Jimmy and Terry. I was like, no. I was like, this is Scott Storch. I was like, this is Scott.
I would have never thought Scott Storch would have made it. Because when I thought of Scott Storch, I thought of all the crunk songs that were out at the time. So I was like, because Island Life is probably my favorite song on the album. Like Island Life for me was, I still play that out. Like to me, that sounds like one of those songs that plays at the end of a movie where everything has gone right and everybody's now in their happily ever after. Like I wanted a video for that song so bad. But no.
Mm.
Yeah, it's the song that's behind the happy montage.
Mm-hmm. Like
I thought
that's one of my favorite. And Janet was doing her singing. I said, okay, come on. Got to that bridge. All right.
She was, yeah. She did give a very good vocal on that.
for me when I heard it, I was like, this is kind of like I wanted a video because I was like this could have been like the beginning of August. This could have dropped with a dope video, and it could have just been the end of the summer type of record. And it would have been so. That's why it just makes me mad about this whole damn blackball shit. Because it could have been so many things that you could have done with these songs that would have worked, especially with an album like this coming out in March. So much you could have done with this going into the summer, and this is like a summer record to me. And it was just like a dope video. You know what I'm saying? Gil could have choreographed that joint, could have been ill. You know what I mean?
I had all kind of vision. I was playing A&R. I was mapping out the music video because I was like, she's gonna be a carnival, and she's gonna be trying to find the guy that she like, but she can't find him because all the people out there partying. And at the end of the video, she finds with him, and they by the palm tree, and the sun is setting. Like I had vision for this album.
You better do a treatment.
Yeah, okay.
All right, please.
Yeah, you better give us a storyboard. I love it.
That was I love that song. Like,
but
I didn't.
but Scott Storch also was one of the writers too on the song.
Okay. I thought maybe he just produced it. Kat, yeah, I knew she did it because she helped write "Toxic" for Britney. I mean, maybe wrote it and some other stuff, but I didn't know he co-wrote it with them as well. So I didn't know that. Wow, but that beat is so hard. It's so hard. You know.
It's such a good fun song.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Album, and there's a song that is pretty much a blend of that song and Brandy's Talk About Our Love as far as production, because I was like, I need to give Island Life needs its own something. So I'm like, oh, I can't wait to finish that stuff. But man, Island Life is one of my favorites.
Wow. Okay. And then when she did it on the tour, that was a yes. Yeah. Again, the people that I was with, they did not know that one either. So you know what I'm saying? So I was alone up.
They were quiet until she got till it's gone. So
yeah.
12 minutes.
Yeah.
It was just the diehards, and everybody else was starting to sit down, eat their popcorn. I'm like, all
right. and at least you know the one that actually didn't know got till it's gone. You know that one very well, that friend. I was like, girl, how you don't know this? Like, like, are you like for real? Like the other one, she knew that one, but then the Road Dog, I'm like, how you don't know Got Till It's Gone, though? Like, girl, I could get fine spending time with you and Island Life. I get it, but Got Till It's Gone is like a Janet classic for real. So I'm like, and
JR,
you glad?
JR, I'm so glad you found me. Cause your friends, they just not music like they're not even
Yeah.
casual fans. Like it's just whatever. So I'm
And
glad
see, you've met them.
you could have somebody to talk to about it, so you could stop wearing them.
I know.
And that's what it is.
I bought my coworker and their spouse, their wife tickets, for Together Again, because for the Baltimore show I was on the floor, but I wasn't getting the floor seats because they don't know Jan enough, so they were on the side. But I kept looking to make sure they were enjoying the show. Like, you better be enjoying this. Like, hey, every time Janet starts singing one of the other songs, like, because she opened with Damita Jo and the Together Again remix. I kept looking like, y'all better be enjoying this. I know y'all spend all this money.
Hello.
Some Renaissance prices for this tour. I was like, all right, Janet, I love you, but
Let her ride.
yeah. Oh man, but yes, Island Life, great song, great song. And then we go into All Night. You knew this, it sounds like a single. You know what I mean? Like it just sounds like a Janet single. Like you knew when you heard it, it should have been a smash. Let's put it that way. It should have been obviously the politics that went behind it caused it not to be, even though it was number one on dance and all that. But this was supposed to be her if for real. You know what I mean? And I get so mad when I hear it because this is one of the best choreographies that I love. I love the choreography of the song when she performs it, like when she performed it on the Ryan Seacrest joint. Ate it with her freaking Converses on. Like, ate this. Like, I love the performance when she just performs it, the video, all that. I was like, this would have been a top 5 Janet record, period, if none of that bullshit would have happened. And every time I listen to it, and I'll be like, when Janet like, this is sick. I'll be like, yeah, I'm sick because this should have been a bigger damn song. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just takes me back, and I'll be like, Justin, I hate you. That's all I say. Like when I hear this, I'll be like, I hate you because you ruined a damn top 5 song for her. You know what I mean? Ugh.
It didn't sound, and it's 04. We were getting crunk all night, all day. So for that to be a totally different sound for 04, that's why I was like, this is going to definitely be the smash and everything. And because I remember even being on the forums, we were like, oh, it's going to be fine. Once All Night Don't Stop comes out, she going to catch up. It's going to be good now. And then All Night Don't Stop came out. So you guys voting on 106 in Park. Remember, we're going to have a voting Tuesday, 106 in Park. We got to get her. She made it to number 4. Like, that was all we had. We was in there going through it. And then the remix came out. That was a bit more like crunk mixed with the dance hall. And we're like, okay, now she'll get some play because Elephant Man is on it. And y'all, well, they're not doing a video for it and they ain't getting no radio play. Let's just keep voting on 106 in Park.
Right, that part. And the only time we really got the remixes when she did it on the BET Awards.
Clocked out. I didn't like that performance. She was ready to go home.
I tell people that a lot. I'll be like,
minute that she got stuck in that tunnel and she was fighting to try to release it, and she was like done. She was
over it.
She was still
over it.
God damn it. Okay. Like, Janet was over it because by then, like, she had started putting on the adult weight was coming back in. She was done. She was like, I'm over it. Let me just go and get this out the way so y'all can leave me alone.
Right. Using the, because when Janet
charts at that point, because remember, Damita Jo was actually selling pretty well like the first 6 weeks. And then out of nowhere, because it was in the top 10 for like the first 4 weeks, and then I think it went to like 15 or something, and by like week 6 or 7 it was down to like 80 out of nowhere. And so yeah, I remember us thinking the BET Awards was going to be the one to fix it, and then we all watched it. We're like, it was cool. I liked the first half. It died once Elephant Man came out to me. R&B Junkie, I was like, I'll take it, it's fun, but I wish she would have just done what she did on Ryan Seacrest for the BET Awards, because I'm like, every all night don't stop performance was just fine for me. So if you want to do the same thing, cool. I was like, there ain't no band. This is the CD playing. Oh, come on, Jay. I was like, nah, I'm not one to do comparisons with other artists, but there was a girl the year before dancing on top of her name. So I need you to have the same energy. Like, Lord, I was not moved. I was like, damn it. That's when I knew she was ready to go home. I was like, I understand. I get it. It's been a rough few months. I understand. Go on home.
Yeah. And that's where I looked at it. Because my mom was like, because we all, BET Awards, when we did all watched it.
The family, this was
yes
performance. Like the first award show, oh, she about to kill this. Because I'm like, I even like Sex Bishop or Strawberry Bounce on SNL more than BET Awards, because there was still creativity and Janet still had her swag. She was ready to go home. So I was like, I get it.
Yeah. And that's why I wasn't mad at it. My mom was like, are you? I was like, I'm like, Janet is just over this whole era now. She's over it. Like, and you could tell in that performance. Like, even her little walk up, like how she walked up was like, oh, this is over. All right. Like
and I'm like, she had to dumb down the choreography so she and Elephant Man can do the same choreography together. I'm like, oh, Lord, what is this? It's kind of, I always say it's like TLC's Grammy performance from 2000. I had the same energy for that one, because by then they were ready to go home. T-Boz is pregnant. They've been fighting on the tour. All right, let's go on and get these two performances out the way. Okay, here comes the Planet Rock dance break again. Come on. So I was over it. Like, y'all, it's funny when the artist is over it, you just see it. They don't even hide it. Janet is not good at hiding when she's checked out. She is not good at hiding it at all. No.
Even though this is the one reason, because I actually went and got the single. So look, I was trying. I wanted my girl to win something. So then we
I worked on the single, the cover. I thought it was a pretty picture.
Yeah. I was like, okay, cool. So then we got the B-side, Put Your Hands On. And that I love that song. I love it. It kind of, again, it gave me a feeling of And On. Like gave me that feeling like summertime, and that bass line of Put Your Hands On. It was just, I was just trying, like you said, as a Janet fan, we was trying to pull straws just like her and her team. We was trying to do something for her to win. Like, it was just like, I'm, and at least know.
Cussing out the program managers, because the thing too, because even I remember doing 20YO, by the time you got to 20YO, some of the radio people would honestly say, we're not allowed to play her. I know y'all been calling for 2 years, we just honestly can't play her. I was like, damn, okay. Oh, so that's around the time I was like, oh, this is still going. But yeah, I remember, folks, you were calling the radio, and the dark years.
The dark, that's what you call them, the dark years. Because I'm telling you, I was just like, and at least no, I'm not buying no singles. I'm not the single buyer. I'm not buying no single. I'm getting the album, and that's it. When I was sitting there buying Janet's singles, I was trying to, I'm like, hey, I'm trying to do something. And then I would, I played Put Your Hands On. So I was like, oh, I like this. But All Night wasn't getting no play, but VH1 Soul and MTV Jams. And that's about it. And 106 in Park. And other than that, MTV was not playing her at all. VH1 not playing her at all. It was like,
no YouTube, so
yeah. And let me tell you what I can't stand about them white puritanical conservative ass motherfuckers is they pick and choose what they want to be outraged about. Because there's no reason, and I know we keep bringing it up, but you can't talk about this album without talking about it. Like, it's kept, like, I don't think if they wouldn't have gotten such an outrage of it, within a few weeks, wouldn't nobody even talking about it no more. So nobody would have had to see the fucking titty. Like, I can't stand it. They pick and choose which thing.
I missed it. And I was on the phone with the best friend that liked Janet, and I was already, wasn't that great? And I just heard like, what's your problem? Like, her titty came out. No, it didn't. And I rewinded my little V. I was like, oh my God, how did I miss this? But I remember the news right after the Super Bowl, they talked about it, but they kind of talked about like, oops, and one big oops for Janet Jackson. Oh, well, she's really strong. She'll bounce right back. So it wasn't even like a outrage. It was kind of like they thought it was funny. And so give it 1 week, is she Public Enemy #1? 30-second delay.
But pick and choose what they want to be outraged about it, but they let all these rapey ass motherfuckers and scammers do whatever. But this, which was an accident, and then I just don't. I'm still mad as if it was yesterday that this was going on. I'm actually madder now than I was back then. Seeing what happened, how long it played out, and she never could quite.
What you said, how it played for so long. The fact that it still continued into 20YO and Discipline is what pissed me off. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This is still going. Man. And I think too, because Damita Jo is interesting because I feel like there were probably 2 or 3 different versions of this album just because it had so many unreleased tracks, right? And I was thinking what they should have done maybe is kind of like what they did with Monica's After the Storm, where it was the album and then like a second disc with just like 5 or 6 songs on it that were leftovers from All Eyes on Me. Because I had to write down all the tracks I remember, but there was Clap Your Hands with Harrison. There was Put It On You. There was Pops Up. There was What Can I Say, which is another favorite of mine. Put Your Hands On, Rough, Love Me, the remix to Just a Little While, Could This Be Love, and I'm Here. Those are the ones I remember. I don't know if I'm skipping something.
No. Oh, Could This Be Love? Oh, I forgot.
It was on the album because if you hear how it ends, then it goes into the same interlude that's at the end of Like You Don't Love Me. So I'm like, okay, playing around trying to figure out how to map this album out. So Damita Jo could have gone in so many directions. So yeah, that's the dark years.
Oh my God.
I had to get one good fuss out. I'm good
now. That's fine.
Happened episode, so I could get it all out because I was tired of people coming up with just random narratives like, yeah, the music just wasn't good, so people didn't care. I was like, no, it was way bigger than that.
And that's why I love that you talked about it on your thing, from going from odds for you to, Damita Jo. And like Elise said, you
all the accolades before I even get to the Super Bowl, because y'all not gonna keep playing them. Y'all not
that,
like
that part. And that's what people need to understand. Like her legacy was already solidified before the Super Bowl. So like that, y'all can kill all that noise. It's just the fact that Janet was like, why I gotta keep apologizing? Like, why? I did it, done. I apologize. I did a whole thing. She didn't even want to do it, but she was like, all right, I apologize, whoever was offended. Let's keep it moving. And then they didn't. Like, what more did you want her to do? Like, that's where I was lost.
Mm-hmm. You forgot she a Black woman, a successful woman. Child, they won't go.
And this is what I also want these artists to understand. You're not going to always be on top either, because they always going to replace you. And right now, Janet was what? This is when she was about 18 years now that she was perfect. Nothing really wrong. All her albums were doing great. All this kind of stuff. Now these new girls are coming in. So this Super Bowl made it a lot easier for them to tank her.
Mm-hmm. Her time is up. Let's go. Her brother got a whole bunch of nonsense going on too. You get rid of both of them. They can all go.
Because you see that hell, they tried to do that shit with the janitor. When Michael was going through that mess, and she had to postpone her janitor all the way to November because she had to make that die down so she can kind of tour. And it was just like they just try to. Oh God!
I forgot the other part. And she a Jackson, so they extra gonna come for her.
Yep.
I forget that's the main thing. Black woman and a damn Jackson. Child, you can't win.
At all. They was like, we don't need her to be big no more. It's like, all right, we got, the bees coming in and these little young girls coming in. We gonna put everything behind them and take everything away from her. It was just like, it was just so sad to see. It was just
catching it too. Like at least her peers got chances to bounce back. Because I'm like, Madonna around that time, That's American Life was around. It didn't really do what it was supposed to do, so they would lighten up Madonna. Mariah was still catching strays. Mariah was catching strays to bounce back. Whitney, they were calling her a crackhead every week. So at least she got I Look to You to have a bounce back with her. I won't mention the tour, God bless her. But which that was a setup. They should have sent that girl out there like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like all of those entertainers in that same age bracket, they were trying to just flush out anyway. Like, okay, all of y'all are old. It's time for all y'all to go. And they didn't have nothing on Janet. So with that happening, perfect. Here we go. You got the biggest offense. So you're gonna be the first one out.
A mess. Just just makes me mad.
Oh, took down the Mickey Mouse statue with the Rhythm Nation costume. I say, now y'all just reaching for anything now. Yes, Lord.
Just reaching, yo. Oh God. Oh God. Oh Lord Jesus. Oh Lord.
Wait a minute, what'd you say? Can you repeat that?
Oh, I was saying she's better than I was. I've been cussing everybody out. She handled it with grace. I used to get mad at her because she would never speak up for herself. Like that clip with when she was interviewing with the white dude when she was promoting the movie and he kept grilling. She was doing the Tyler Perry movie and he kept grilling her about the Super Bowl. And at this point, it's 2007, and I mean he is frying this lady up and she wouldn't say nothing. I'm like, Janet, just you get a pass to just drag one person. I promise you, it's not gonna hurt at this point because what's the worst that can happen at this point? Like, man, if I was Janet, I would have been throwing hands, but she's better than
I'm
me.
glad Tyler did.
Off of the documentary where she added that last minute snippet from her phone. Hey, you guys, me and Justin, we're friends. No, you're not. Like, I was like, and you just had them braids on 2 weeks ago. So this is not even a part of the documentary. She just move on. We're friends. And I'm like, I just had another video where I dragged Justin for 20 minutes and I showed all the examples of how after the fact he was mocking her and stuff about it, even recently. So I was like, Jen, what? Fine, you want to be his friend? Fine, I don't care no more. But y'all just being cuckoo land together since you want to be friends. Oh, we're friends, and I get it. At this point, she don't want to keep bringing it back up, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, all the fans like, you might be over it, but we ain't. So whatever.
At that part, I'm sorry, Janet. That was some dark years for us Janet fans. Very dark.
Justin apologized on Twitter in like 2018, and then Marlon, one of them, was like, "Yeah, we forgive." No, you can forgive, but don't speak for the rest of us. That's y'all in the family. You know, y'all ain't been through what we've been through.
Oh.
It's hard, you. This can turn into a therapy session.
Yeah.
We're working this thing out together.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Ooh, I knew it was gonna go there. I knew it was gonna go there, especially when it got to all night. I knew it was gonna go there because every time I hear it, I get mad.
And it's in that So What Happened episode. I can't remember where the quote was from, but the radio programmer was saying, yeah, it made no sense that All Night Don't Stop wasn't a hit, because if there was any song that should have been just a smash out the gate, it would have been that one. Nothing sounded like it, had a great video. Janet is still Janet. It should have easily just swept up, but I'm like, that's crazy. When All Night Don't Stop didn't do anything, I was like, yeah, we're not getting no more videos. That's it.
Yeah, that was it. Yep, call it a wrap. Damn. Huh. Well, we going to R&B Junkie.
You just partied and it jumps right in the R&B Junkie. I love that song. I would have loved the video for that one too. For some reason, I kept seeing her in Harlem walking around doing something, but that would have been like a neighborhood block party kind of video. But yeah, that was a great one.
That was the best part about the BET performance to me.
If that'd have been a cool video and make it like 70s or 80s, like an 80s throwback with the fashions and the
that'd have been dope for Evelyn Champagne King in the video. Yeah. Her and Janet could have did a nice little bump together.
Yeah, she had a nice cameo. That would have been cute.
Evelyn is the stylist doing her hair, like when she turned the chair around, like, oh, okay. But
come on with the treatments.
I remember radio temporarily playing that one for like 1 week. I felt like they were kind of testing it because I remember Q93 played it and they did the bump it or dump it, and they didn't dump it. They didn't kill the song. So I thought, okay, maybe there's hope now, but it just never did anything else.
I don't think Janet even cared anymore by that point. I think she was like, y'all, I'm just over Damita Jo. I've had enough. I'm just done. You know what I mean? And I think, but this,
she over it. Like,
yeah, call it a wrap.
Get it. You're gonna get comfortable.
Yeah, goodbye. Y'all not getting nothing with this. I'm over it. And that's why I say I think that was the best part of the BET Awards performance, when she jumped into that and she did a little joint. I thought that was so smooth the way they went into it. And then, like you said, right after then they did the remix. It was like, huh?
Because I remember she was holding the pose and the little fire thing was coming down. I'm like, oh, what's next? And then, okay, this remix. Yay.
They start doing that. I was like, oh.
Doing that choreography. I'm like, oh, Lord.
Yeah. I was like, oh, man.
An opening and what they got you doing up here right now. But okay. Monique was killing it. So I'm like, I need you to have that same energy.
Yeah.
Who knows where to go home? I understand.
Oh man. Okay, so we go into I Want You.
My theory is the label, because Just a Little While did not, well, they killed Just a Little While. And I think they were afraid to push All Night Don't Stop next because they didn't know how radio was going to react. So they figured R&B radio has always been loyal to Janet, and a lot of the R&B stations that are not owned by Clear Channel will still play her. So let's do the I Want You, because this could be another I Get Lonely for her. So they pushed that. And it's the Kanye West production, even though he's not on the song, but you know it's him. So, okay, right. This is the thing. And so I feel like that was the goal, and it kind of did a little something on R&B radio, but it didn't do enough. But I like the song. It's not my go-to, but it still sits in that string of what I call the golden segment of the album. Like for me, it's like my baby / spending time with you to Like You Don't Love Me. So I liked it. I like the ad libs and everything. The performances of the song were okay. It was cool for what it was.
There we go. For me, it was cool.
I love this song.
It's a good song.
I know.
Like I said, I love this song.
Something wrong with you.
It's just sweet because I'm like, yeah, I love all the upbeat Janet and this and that. But to keep it a buck, my favorite Janet is sweet love and
I love
Janet. That's my favorite Janet. It's that Janet and nasty Janet. That's my favorite. Like sweet Janet, and I like nasty Janet. Like the rest of the album.
I like the video more than the song. The video, I think she's so pretty in. Like she looks so good. So that, to me, that's when I think of Janet, that's my favorite look right there. I thought she was like perfect in everything. So I love how she looks in that video.
And this was a song, like I was telling Elise earlier, it was a song that I was supposed to like because it has such a Motown-ish feel to it that I'm supposed to like this song. Like I'm such a Motown head, I'm supposed to love this. But it was just something, it was just like, it was missing something for me. And I was just like, okay. But the video, like she looked beautiful in that video. She looked beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And like I told Elise, at the end, it was so cute with her and Jermaine at the end. You know what I mean? Even though she had to take off them high heels and put on them damn slippers because she couldn't be that taller than Jermaine.
I said, she even looked good on the bus. I said, now, Janet, you know good and well you ain't getting on nobody's bus, but all right. At night, ain't no way you get on no bus, but okay. Because look, when
just
she promoted Made for Now, she got on the subway, she had so much security. It's okay, we're going in. Janet, my people. All right.
Right. She ain't going in no freaking corner store getting her something, please. Child. Heck no. Right. But she still looked good in it. I think for me, I like the video more than I did the song. You know what I mean? But like you said, if I got it, if I'm playing it, I ain't skipping it. I'm gonna sing along to it, I know the words, all that stuff. It's just one of them songs I'm like, okay. You know what I mean?
It's not a skip. It's just not my go-to. But every now and then when it come on, I be going in with it. Like, oh, all right. It hits sometimes. Depending on what mood I'm in. But I will say when I first heard it, because that had leaked before the album as well. And so when I heard that, I was relieved because I was like, okay, this is such a contrast from Just a Little While. So okay, Janet is still Janet. Okay, cool. This works. So I like it for its various reasons, but yeah. I think what it is my second favorite song in the album comes after it. So Like You Don't Love Me is, I don't know.
That's the number one favorite. But I want you is my number two, and my third one we already talked about. It's, like you don't love me. Those are my three favorite songs.
You Don't Love Me is such a good one. I For me, I feel like that's when I acknowledge, like, okay, Janet's like a real grown woman for real. Like this, because I feel like that could have been like a Mary J. Blige song, that could have been a Faith Evans song. I was like, this is like Janet's kind of R&B track where, because sometimes people like to dismiss her and think, oh, she's just a pop singer that sometimes does R&B. But I'm like, no, to me, Janet is rooted. Janet to me is in the same boat as Whitney. Her and Whitney had the best of both worlds with pop and R&B, and they kind of whichever wave they're on for what the trend was. But I think Like You Don't Love Me is such a unique track. Just the subject matter, the delivery, the production. Even though Roxanne Shante sued over it, she ain't like her little sample not being cleared. But I love that song. That's one of my favorites. I wish. Oh, she did. That doesn't count. She did it on the tour, but it didn't count. It was kind of like the DJ was playing it. But I love that one. I could see that video too. Her in the robe, cussing out the husband and throwing a pillow at him while she goes to the other room, and slams the door. But
Like You Don't Love Me is my favorite song on Damita Jo. Um, this is like this song is just when I heard it and it just like it was just like when that came in, I was just like, ooh, I was like, oh, and to me, this kind of took me back to when I heard That's the Way Love Goes for the first time. Because That's the Way Love Goes was a groove. And this kind of brought me back to that. You know what I mean? And her voice is so soothing on this, even though she's talking shit. You know what I mean? It's still her voice is so soothing to me, and her harmonies on the pre-chorus. It was just everything about this song is just perfect to me. So when DJ Actor played it on the Together Again tour, I was like, wait a minute, is she gonna do this? I was like, if we gonna get choreography for this, wait a minute. Oh, and Janet just did the, just the.
okay, all right, this is cool. I was
That's what you could.
catching her breath. This is what she's doing. I got it. She catching her breath because she still got to do So Excited in a few minutes. So I get it. I get it. I have to remind myself because I used to fight with one of my good friends that was like a Janet fan, because I always said like Janet be fooling us with the dancing sometimes, because when she went from Rock With You to the Up Close and Personal tour, and I'm like, she ain't dancing no more. My friend's like, she old. I'm like, no, I just saw Rock With You like a year ago. And I mean, that was a 3-hour show. There is no way she just loses it. So then when she came back with State of the World, I said, see, I told y'all, she be playing with y'all. Like she pick and choose when she feel like dancing. Because then when I went to Vegas was great production, but she wasn't doing that much dancing on that one either. I'm like, okay, Janet, all right, all right, you charging these prices. So Together Again is a good balance of both. But yeah, she be playing games. So yeah, she was catching her breath.
Yeah, and this is actually a top 20 Janet song for me. It is. It's in my top 20. I love it. Anytime it plays, I'm here for it. Like in my house, at least my speaker. I blast the hell out of this. My neighbors know it's on. Like I love this song. It's just like you said. It could have been a Mary song. It could have been a Faith joint. It could have it just has that street vibe to it. You know what I mean? That's what I love about it so much. So I love this. Favorite song on the album.
I just knew.
I would love to hear Faith singing that song.
You said Faith?
Yeah, y'all said Faith. I would really love to hear that. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like a Faith song.
Yeah, I could swear
like it's a song Mary could do, but it sounds like a Faith song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah,
I love that. That's one of my favorites. I think that's a standout in just her catalog, period, because it's so different.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more stuff in that kind of realm. So like if she does another album and she wants to kind of keep it with the grown sound, I would love to get more of that.
Me too. Yes. Agreed. All right. We go to Thinking About My Ex.
This is the one that didn't need to be on the album.
Agreed. But I sing along to it, but I get it.
I like it.
The other B-side or unreleased track that was so good, I was like, well, you could have swapped that out for one of them. Because my main critique of Damita Jo is that it needed one or two more up tempos, just because it's such a groove the whole time. And really, as you get to the later half of the album, if you're not really into the slow jams, you might think the album starts to get boring. So I'm like, she just needed one or two more up tempo. So I would have sacrificed thinking about my ex real quick. Like, sorry. Or even if it wasn't an up tempo, I would have swapped thinking about my ex for Could This Be Love. I would have even taken I'm Here. But like, um, actually, no, I would have put What Can I Say up in the mix. It would have fit right there. But think about my ex is just, I don't even like the lyrics. Because I'm like, at this point, just going back with the man. And this whole song's about some other man, and we supposed to be a thing. And if you ask me what I'm thinking about my ex. Get out. Like, I sat here and tried to plan a nice elaborate night for your ass. I had to put candles and stuff on. You think about that short gremlin, get out. Yeah, that man, and I was like, I know this ain't about Renee. He done sued and took $20 million. You still thinking? Get out. So going back to him.
Like, that's why. And did you see? She was like, "It's not who you think it is." But I'm like, but Janet, you didn't even.
And I know it ain't. So I think the production is just too. I don't like it. It almost picks up at the bridge, and I almost start to like it. And I'm just like, it don't do nothing for me. This is when Babyface was already depressed about the marriage and stuff falling apart, and everything was with a guitar, and he became real acoustic. So like,
you're right.
Yeah, because Babyface is one of my favorite producers, but I do feel like around about 03 to 05, a lot of his songs were very stripped down and like emphasis on guitar, which is cool. It worked for some songs, but even when I think of like his song Grown and Sexy, I was like, I like this, but you've had stronger singles. So this is cool. This is around the house. I'll take it. I'm sorry. Janet, no. She don't even like the song. She sound bored on it.
I like it. It's not a favorite or anything. That's fine. You know.
And then when she was doing the EPKs, when they used to do them, and when she did it, and she was talking, and she was like, "It's such a beautiful song." And then when I got to it, I was like, "Okay," like, it was like, "Okay, all right."
It's a pretty song. It just doesn't take me anywhere. Sonically, I like it. I don't even know the lyrics to it. That's how little I've listened to it. So
you're not the only one.
And this is when I have my critique of the album, because I think from this point onward, it gets very up and down with the next few songs. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, okay.
That My Baby to Like You Don't Love Me is such a strong, great run. And that doesn't even take away from Sexhibition and Damita Jo, which are also good, but that run is everything. So I'm like, all right, what's next?
Nuts. Well, you know Janet got to give us the real sexy though. Come on. We know that's coming. You know Janet got to give us the real sexy now. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, when is it coming? When is it finally coming? And she give us Warmth.
Unless you have the clean version and Warmth and Moist aren't even on there, and it goes straight to Truly. So going from Think About My Ex to Truly, I'm like, okay. But no, Warmth, I liked Warmth. I think it worked for 2004. It's not a favorite, but I like the production. I just thought it got overshadowed by Moist. But I will save Moist for later.
Yeah. I like
when you talk to people that don't really know this out, they know those two songs, Warmth and Moist.
Oh, look at the that's what
people know that. I know very well. Those go on those lists.
Amen, somebody.
Hey, boo, hey, it goes on those lists.
That one, Rockwaller and her got back together with this one, and they did, because he did Would You Mind or For You. So they got back together. And you know what? I know, Calvin, you're probably gonna look at me crazy, but on the part of Warmth when she be like, "Not yet," it takes me back to 24 Play.
Oh yeah, okay.
It takes me back there because when Janet be like, because I love 24 Play, like you said, like that's on the GTD list too. But yo, when she said Not Yet, I said, "Oh, Janet, you taking us back to 24 Play? Okay, I see it. Okay. And then and then Janet got to give you the freaky shit. And I feel like you can play Warmth when it's raining outside and you about to get it in. That's how I feel like Warmth is.
I like the vocal arrangements, especially as the song is ending. Those backgrounds, I really like the backgrounds on it. And it's a good mix because that's when you hear the thunder and stuff. Because she's gonna put some. If it's one thing, it's gonna be storming wherever she live at. They got bad weather all year, so yeah, I like the backgrounds on the end.
Then she said, "It's my turn," and we go into Moist.
I like Moist. I prefer over Warmth. I love.
Yeah, agreed.
Because
I prefer Warmth.
It's the backgrounds on Moist that won me over. Like especially when she did the Vegas bit, and there's that one clip of her where she's not gonna sing, and it's the background singer singing the hook, and she's just sitting there smiling, like, you want to hear me sing, you got to get a ticket. And but trying to hear the four of them try to capture everything happening in the backgrounds, and they sound amazing, but they still can't capture it because there's just so much happening. Like Moist is just, I love the production. It's different. Warmth to me sounds like what everybody else who would have wanted to make a sexy song would have been doing in 04. Moist to me sounds like a song only Janet can do.
I agree.
Well, Warmth to me sounds like what Janet would do that everybody tried to copy to sound like her. But I don't think it. I mean, I don't know. Those two songs are a package deal for me, though.
I listen to both together.
Now I think about it, like I want to hear.
Yeah.
I want to hear both of them. I don't want to just hear one. I want to hear both.
With the All For You album, like if I put on When We Ooh, I'm not turning the album off until after you get through all four of them slow songs. Like, well, sometimes I'll skip Would You Mind. Would You Mind is cool, but to me it's shock factor. But from When We Ooh to Love Scene in China, them three, I always play them together.
Yeah, Lord.
Come on, Ron. What?
Get them together.
Ooh.
Package. See, people don't do this with albums no more. They just be doing anything. I be trying to tell people, y'all don't understand. Like,
When We Ooh.
Yeah. China. Oh, yeah.
Yes, like that's a run, yo. Oh God. But yeah, and I think also with Moist is the instrumentation is a little jazzy, and y'all know Janet loved Brazilian music too, so it gives you that flavor a little bit. You know what I mean? So it's just it's a Moist to me is just that record. You know what I mean? And Janet letting you know you're feeling it, you're feeling it, you're swimming in it, like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to know. But like, I agree with you, sis. I think both. You got to hear both. You play Warm, you got to go right into Moist, and it just got to happen. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah. But I do like Moist better. But I think you got to play both.
I did like when I first bought the album, I played Warmth a lot, but over time, I really fell in love with Moist and then kind of just stopped paying attention to Warmth. But yeah, it's a 2-for-1. It's the full package. She's giving you the instructions on what to do and how this works. So take note.
When I make a list, you know what song I put after Moist or right before it? Joy Lick.
Oh.
I love it when you that song. I remember that. Yeah.
That's on your playlist, sis.
And is.
Hey, brother-in-law.
These soul songs right in the middle of all of it. So we be going from some nasty songs from like Candy, Lucky, and then out of nowhere it goes to freaking Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. Hope we can be together soon. Like, what in the
and make it real soon.
Right.
That's what the OG Catch That had. Make it real soon. Hey, Brian Morgan.
It's just they take me somewhere. I had to start compartmentalizing the playlist and kind of keep decades together because I mix it all together.
No idea.
I think I had Smokey Robinson on that too. And Miracles, the Ooh Baby. They're like, what is this on? Ooh. Like, what? I'm like, yes. Turn on. Let me turn that up a bit. Give me a sec.
That's your geriatric GTD list right there.
That's for the cool down. It's finally it's time to wind it on down. Put that on in there. Slow it on down.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God. Jesus. Oh, God. So then we get another interlude. Janet got to let us know it's all comes down to love. I know we done did very sexual things, but it's all about the love. It's love at the end of the day. Yes, it's warmth and you know and moist, but y'all, it's all about love. It's love. So I felt like that's what that interlude was. It was like Janet, like let me smooth this out because I done took y'all here. Now let me bring it down a little.
Love is just her favorite word. She gonna throw that in everything. It's like when I saw it, why did I get married? And it's the love that gets us through. I said, Janet, that was not in the script. You done added that in there because that don't even make sense. But okay, ain't that much love in the world. If you get on my nerves, you get on my nerves. Like it's the love that gets us through.
With Tasha Smith, what was her role? She said she makes me sick. Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh man.
I always forget about. Like that's the one interlude. It's cool, it works, but it doesn't stand out like the other ones.
No, not at all. Not at all. No. That's
so.
yeah. So then we go to Truly. I
Okay.
love the melody.
Is one of my favorite songs, but it's not. I probably wouldn't put it on the album though. I don't know if my idea of the double disc. I think it's on my second disc, and I only say that because you had warmth and you had moist right there. The album had already gone down. It needed to come back up, and Truly kept it right there. But we had already been there since I Want You, so I'm like, damn, how long are we gonna stay in this pocket? But Truly is actually one of my favorite songs of hers. I just maybe if the track list actually, you know what? Just put Truly after I Want You and get rid of Think About My Ex and we'll be good.
I knew that was coming. I was waiting on that.
Supposed to be on there. Somebody was not paying attention and it ended up getting pressed and it ended up on the albums because I just know after all the B-sides I heard, this couldn't have been the top contender. Like, and also her. We never got to hear all the other songs that she did with other producers, and so it was like, okay.
Well, do you think they left it on there just because it was Babyface?
It could be because we have them stipulations like with TLC. If I do a song, it got to be a single, so we're gonna have to sit through Dear Lie. Even though I like the song, but it should not have been the third single
at all.
Songs that before
what song?
Dear Lie off the Fan Mail album. Dear Lie.
Oh, I don't know that album.
Oh, catch it.
Violent. Hey, hold
on. Only because you had chose violence a couple times. I figured it was a safe space.
I was just like, catch it. Jeez.
Hits on this show. Okay.
Oh, I famously don't know that album, but yeah.
Yes.
I like Fan Mail. Oddly enough, I was so in love with their first album and Crazy Sexy Cool. I just gotten a Fan Mail a few years ago because I loved Una's TLC tip because I love New Jack Swing. So that was one of my favorite albums. That and SWV's debut were two of my favorites for the longest.
But don't pay me no attention because I'm not a huge TLC fan in that way. It's album wise. Singles, yeah, all day. But yeah.
I'm gonna let you have it because it's your show.
I love Fan Mail.
Oh no, JR like
I love Fan Mail.
It's fine. I don't know why people think they can't come back for me because I mean, if I could dish it, I could take it too.
Of my as I got older, I kind of moved away. So even like when they come to town, I don't even see them. I'd be like, damn, you're a horrible fan. Because I used to go hard for them too. Like, and then I just lost interest over time. I still like them, but they're not mine. I don't know. I love them though, but yeah. They were just here and I didn't go. And I was like, dang, and tickets were like $20. I was like, you should have went. But that's not even being shady. The reason I didn't go is because Sean Kingston was on the ticket and I thought that was stupid. And Shaggy was on the ticket. And I'm like, I can see them. And Vogue was on it too, but I like En Vogue, but I would like to get the original four. I love Rona. I appreciate that she's been able to help them keep their legacy going by touring.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for I'll even take all five together. I'll take it. But I was like, I don't want to go. Sorry. If it was TLC and In Vogue, maybe I would have thought about it. But once I saw Shaggy and Sean Kingston, I'm like, I ain't going.
Yeah, especially after Shaggy kind of dragged Janet. So I'm like, I'm good on him. That's when my stand-up comes out. I'm good on him. Cause yeah. So but yeah, with the fan mail, I love fan mail though. That's actually my favorite TLC album, actually.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's my favorite. It has some of my favorite songs. Don't Pull Out on Me Yet is one of my favorite TLC songs.
Yes.
Favorite. Like I thought that was gonna kind of be the direction of 3D, even though I still like 3D, but I love that. So when TLC came out with the recent album, I said, now that album I can't even lie, I don't like it at all. Sorry, TLC. I did not like. There might have been 3 songs in there I liked. I was like, I thought they were gonna give me a more adult contemporary sound, and I get they were still trying to be hip, but I thought the songs were corny. I didn't like the MF song and the Give Me Your Body, whatever that song was. Like, all right, okay. I like Joyride, and American Gold was cool, but I ain't patriotic, so I ain't like that part. And then
Me neither.
yeah, it wasn't even mixed right. I was like, what's going on with this? Anyway, I still love them. That's one of my favorite groups, but
Yeah. Yes. So we get another interlude, y'all. Janet gonna give you an interlude now. And the one.
oh, I forgot about that one too.
Yes.
Oh, that one doesn't stand out either.
I thought it was just kind of a spiritual thing to me. It gave me a little bit of a spiritual thing for me, but this is the album where I'm like, Janet, I think we have too many interludes. This is the album when I'm saying, all right, I know you're the interlude queen, but this one is just getting a little too much for me. You know, I think now I'm ready the album to come to a close.
We'll get to the Janet album again. Wind. Janet. Now this didn't have to be on here. Okay.
I do think the album is too long, not in minutes, but in track.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just need every purpose. I don't mind the 22 album. Especially I'm talking trash, it might be just as long, but like to me, 16, 17 is a good boom. But if you're gonna go 22, then every track needs to have purpose. So I feel like some of these interludes towards the end we didn't really need. And interludes at the end of some of the songs that just weren't their own track. You know, can we down? I just want to dance with my baby, and then what's the other? Damita Jo. Thank you. Like so, all of these are like in there embedded. So it's like okay.
Yeah. Or like how she was like, oh yeah, I used to go home to school every day and do my homework.
Musical family. Like, yeah, well, we know. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Like it was just like, all right, girl. All right, girl. I get it. All right, girl. So all right, so we go into Slow Love.
I like Slow Love.
That's yeah, I like that. It's the throb of the album to me. That's throb on, on down. And I think I was gonna ask you, Calvin, do you think this was a precursor to Tonight on Discipline?
No. Discipline is an album. If you want to, Discipline to me doesn't feel like a Janet album. She feels very removed on it because she didn't have any of the creation of it. I do like Tonight a little bit because she tried to give a little vocal towards the end. Discipline is that album I don't even play, honestly. That was the first time I played a Janet album and was like, okay, let me play this again and see how I feel tomorrow. Like that was the first time I was like somewhat disappointed because I didn't like that mid section. I didn't like any of the ballads. I didn't like how the vocally it's her laziest album in my opinion. She wasn't even trying. But the singles in the beginning, Feedback, Love, Rock With You, I'll even throw Roller Coaster in there. I like that. Curtains was cool. I didn't like Discipline the song. I thought it was forced and corny. What's Your Name sounded dated to me, and she's singing about a sidekick, and by then we weren't using sidekicks anymore. I didn't like. I'm sorry, Missy. I didn't like the one either.
I want people to stop saying whatever the current technology is in their fucking song. Okay?
Log off your Facebook.
Now you hear these songs about they 2 ways and all that. when you do that, because of the way technology moves, you instantly date your song. It's dated the day it comes out. Okay, I'm done.
In
Go
my
ahead.
sidekick and I hit your back. All right, Janet, you okay? But I get it. That's an album where she just wanted to tour. Label said you need to do an album first, so that's what that is. But it has some gems. But I don't even look at that as like a cohesive body of work of hers. That was a label obligation, so she could do the Rock With You tour just for her to lead a label before the tour, and then she got to figure out how to tour by herself with no sponsors. I would rather say Slow Love is a precursor to Night from Unbreakable, but I mean, it's years.
Oh, true, true. Yeah, I give you that. I give you that too. I give you that. I mean, I actually listen. No, even though I give 20YO a lot of fever,
20YO,
but
I still like 20YO. It's a little dated, but it fits for 2006. It to me still feels like an album that has somewhat of a journey on it, especially as you get to the second half. It's not a favorite either, but I will give her credit for 20YO because at least there's writing credits and she's a bit more involved. JD killed all the momentum with that with his ideas. I could take the best of Discipline and 20YO and put it together. It would have been a great album.
period. Boom.
Gems on both.
Boom.
Ooh, it's 20YO. That was even a harder era to be a fan. Those are some dark years. He's a modern day Quincy Jones. I'm like, not after this is heard.
Oh, I remember talking to Elise about that. That got under my skin when he said that. When she said that. I was like, Janet, baby girl, I love you. And I know you and this man is together, but there's some things that you just don't need to say. And that was one of them. I was like, no, no, no. I cringed when I saw that. She was like, he's just a modern day Quincy Jones to me. Girl. Girl. I was like, no.
Love it. It's the love that gets us through. See, that's what she was talking about. Because I like both albums, but I don't love them. Those are the two Janet albums I don't love.
Right. I feel you.
Those two, because I like Don't Mess Up This Good Thing. So that's my.
Me too. Oh, yes. So we get to country, which he's talking about her name and how country it is and all that.
Damita is the country. The Joe is the country part.
I think they had different ideas for the interludes. Like I think one idea was each interlude was supposed to be like an interview, but then she didn't end up using them all. So the only ones that would have made it would have been the "Of Course I Love Music" bit and maybe the Magic Hour one. And then I think she was supposed to be on some spiritual thing. So then that's the All Looking for Love one in the opening. And all the interludes have these different energies and spaces. And then you get like the country one. I'm like, well, I don't know what this. Okay. Yeah. I just think they didn't know what to do here.
It really did, because then it goes into Just a Little While.
Said it was an 18-month recording process for this album. So it just seems like I'm really convinced there were 2 or 3 different versions of Damita Jo that were out there. Just based on all the unreleased tracks that we've heard, and there's other ones we'll probably never hear, but it just seems like they weren't sure where to go with it. And so that's why I think the second half of the album is a little, it's not all over the place, but I don't know. I just don't, it's not as strong as the first half. And I think Janet in the past, her albums are usually strong all the way through. Even like some people think Velvet Rope is kind of a sleeper album. Like, yeah, it's great, but it's a lot of like, the tracks that are just for the album that are not singles, kind of. But I don't think any of those songs are really filler though. So they all still have.
Yeah, I'll fight somebody if they say that to my face.
So like, What About has purpose behind it. Some of these ones towards the end of Damita Jo, I'm like, okay, they're cool, but I just need a bit more.
Yeah. Because how you go into country into Just a Little While?
Wow.
That
Breakable, and then she had that interlude before Well Traveled. It could have made sense for me. I'm like, okay, but
that it was just like, yeah, that's why I was just like, yeah, I don't know what they were trying to do with the last run here, but it was kind of like, yeah, and then to end it with Just a Little While. It was like kind of after, honestly, for me, I think after Moist, I was kind of ready for the album to actually end, to be honest. But I was like, all right, whatever. But I mean, it's not that the songs are bad. It's just too many interludes. I was just like, nah. It's after each one. It was like, come on, like, I'm ready for the album to end. And then again, we ended with Just a Little While, which is the first single, quote unquote, and
It's a
it
bright
was like,
so it picks the energy back up, but by then the album is over. So
yeah.
uh, I do like Just a Little While, though. I will say, like, it's not my favorite, but I thought it was it's whimsical, so it's fun. The video,
Yeah, agreed. I agree to that. I agree to that. But in all, I'm glad that we were able to talk about each song too, and how, because I think people really discredit this album a lot because of the whole thing. Because the people would say, well, the songs wasn't that good. You didn't listen to the whole album, like Elise said. What's the line you use, Elise? You just listen to, or you skim through it?
Oh, Jay said, do you listen to music or do you just skim through it?
And I feel like they did that with Janet, and everybody was on this thing
No.
that the media didn't like Janet. So a lot of the people that became fans of other artists that start with the letter B, they were gonna go against Janet. You know what I mean? That's when this was starting to happen. It was like, oh, she this girl is the new her. So that's when it started and all the hate started. People didn't even listen to Damita Jo. But I swear, when you go on YouTube and see all these comments, people are like, oh my God, dang, what did I miss? Da 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 da. And all these songs were good. Where were you then?
Where were you? Oh.
going the Tony Braxton route and cut the track listing way down. Honestly, you could have just had Damita Jo stop after Like You Don't Love Me, and people would have said it was a classic. Honestly.
Yep.
And it's not to even discredit the songs that come afterwards, but just I think, like you said, because it's such a long album, eventually, even though there's these good songs, you're a little tired because you're starting to get almost a bit of a similar delivery with them too. But you could have stopped it right after track 13. I'm like, oh, this was nice. Let's start it over. And it would have given you everything you needed. So
Agreed. Totally agree.
So I still think it sits comfortably in her catalog. Of the albums during the dark years, for me, the dark years was 04 to 08. I prefer Damita Jo over 20YO and Discipline.
Amen.
Really like Discipline because it's current, it's fun, but she just sounds removed on it to me. So I just never connected with it. I couldn't stand Never Let You Go, Greatest Ex Ever. I was like, hey, y'all gonna have me call the police on somebody with these songs. But the only thing that made me like Never Let You Go is when she performed it on Rock With You tour, she mixed it with Usher's Confessions. And I was like, okay, I like that. I was like, okay, all right. Hey, you almost got me liking this now. But yeah.
So we have reached my favorite part of the show, and that is our word song association. But actually, what I'm going to do is give you a Janet album, and you tell me what you think. What's your favorite, like sleeper or like kind of like deep cut, or B side from that time? Just anything associated with that album. The first thing that comes to mind. So I'm gonna start with All For You.
You said a song or just a word or something that
A song. Okay. A song that's like a sleeper or that you think is like a deep cut that people should hear or that that comes to mind that you love.
All right, this is gonna be so left field. I really love Truth for some reason. Like I love that song. I think for people who try to put Janet in like she's the extended Paula Abdul career artist where she just has these big stadium anthems, I think a song like Truth is one that shows there's depth to what she sings about. And because she's also not this powerhouse vocalist, a song like Truth still pulls you in for all 5 minutes. So I would say Truth. And Come On Get Up, oddly enough, because that's on my playlist just to wake up to go to work when I don't feel like going. Like it's never gotten tired to me. So I would say those two very odd choices, but yeah.
All right, go backward. The Janet album.
Ooh. It's not even a sleeper because it was a single, but Because of Love is one of my favorite songs. So Because of Love and
No.
actually this is left field too. I really like What I'll Do. Oddly enough, I kind of like crank that one a bit too. I don't know if it's the vocal, but it again it's so different from everything else, right? Because when people think of Janet, they think of If and That's the Way Love Goes, and maybe Anytime, Any Place. But Janet has so many different sounds. I was about to say Throb, but everybody knows Throb. So, yeah, What I'll Do and Because of Love. Um, I think Because of Love is the underrated single. That's why I was happy she added it to the tour.
Oh,
Yes.
all right. How about on Velvet Rope?
Lord, ooh, that's hard. All right, this is my favorite album, but for me, it's You and It's Empty.
Yes, Lord.
Empty because when I bought the album as a kid, I used to skip it because it took so long to build and I didn't know where it was going. I used to skip Empty and I used to skip Anything. And then one of those days I was just cleaning and the album played. I was like, wait. It was like I heard them for the first time. Like, I don't remember these. Like, so Empty is a favorite of mine. I was happy she did it at the Vegas show. And then You just hits. Like it hits. That's how you use a sample correctly. Like the vocal, Janice doing her singing. I think that's one of my favorite performances from the tour. Like I said, Velvet Rope Tour has like 5 or 6 of Janet's best career performances, period. If You, I'll throw in the Control medley, Rhythm Nation, all I'm gonna say All Right, but the All Right that's not on the DVD because the old version she actually was doing the dance breakdown.
Yes.
There's one more on there. I like Special because it's nice and cheesy, but yeah, that tour has so many of her like just career highlights in there, all in one show. I said If right on that tour. Yeah, that's how you open the show. So You and Empty.
All right. Unbreakable.
Oh, hmm. Take Me Away because it's just so different. It's I like that. Dun, 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 dun. I love that part for some reason. So I used to play that out. And okay, everybody fights me on this, but I really liked Well Traveled. I love that song. I didn't like it when she performed it, but I love the song. It's gonna be that Black Eagle or Night, but that's a hard. Actually, that's hard. I don't know if I can pick just two.
You pick as many as you want.
Take Me Away is a yes, definitely. It's not going nowhere. Yeah, I liked Well Traveled just because I felt like that was her. I was convinced she was retiring after that album in the tour. It just sounded like, okay, this is it. So this is my thank y'all, love y'all, see y'all later. It's been a good life song. So I was content with Unbreakable being the last album. Um, and then I really liked Black Eagle when it dropped. But something about Well Traveled just pulled me in. So yeah. And Night is good too, but yeah. I'm gonna say Take Me Away and Well Traveled.
And the last one, I'm gonna give you an album. What is one of your favorite B-sides?
Favorite B side.
One you think people really, really should hear.
One of my favorites. From Velvet Rope era, Accept Me. Accept
Yes,
Me.
Lord.
Dun, 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 dun. I don't know what she's singing, but I'd be over there just singing along. Accept Me is one. Um, what else is I'm skipping? Something is I'm skipping. I'm gonna be so mad about it later on. Um, oh, well, it's not a B side because it was on the it's the exclusive version. Roll With You from 20YO.
Yes, God.
Roll With You is a good one. That should have just been on the regular track list. I even
I
like
agree.
but Roll With You is a good one.
I love that. Top 20 Janet song for me. Love that record. What? Oh!
Huh. Well, thanks for playing.
I'll be doing my thoughts because I'll start naming every song. And well, I'm gonna play this one, but this one too, because the one next to it, like, well,
Yeah.
death.
So,
Be like, you all got, I can't take one.
So we thank you for hanging out and cutting up with us. But before you go, how about you tell folks how they can find you and the wonderful things that you do?
Okay, so I totally forgot to mention earlier, but I do have a podcast called Comedically Hardheaded. A new episode drops on the 10th. So that's available everywhere. It's okay. And when I say podcasting, this is not me on a panel talking about what's the problem with women and why they need to do this. We ain't doing that. It is a storytelling podcast. I just want to make you laugh. I just tell you stories from all of my experiences from childhood or college or different projects I've jumped into that may have gone terribly. Right now, we're in a series about my work with kids because I used to run a community center for 11 years. So that's what that's the series now. Everything is on my website. I haven't really launched it, but it's out. But I have a website, calvinmichaels.com. Everything is on there. All of my music, different playlists I like for other artists. I'm working on a movie or short film called Pull Over So I Can Hit You that is actually based from one of the podcast episodes. Behind the scenes from that is on the website. My favorite two charities to support, one is called Joyful Hands. They give like school supplies and stuff to kids in the DMV, as well as support kids in Liberia, because at the Wekete Academy, the kids have to pay for school. And so it helps to give the kids tuition so they can finish school. And then there's Guns Down Friday. You know, everybody be shooting everybody every 5 minutes in this area. So that's one of my favorite charities to support. It has information about my book club, what books we're reading, when we meet. So that's on there. My YouTube channel has a link to that. It has my work with, because I used to work for a magazine too. All my journalism is in there. This will probably be on the website at some point. Any kind of press I have, if I do interviews with other channels or anybody, that goes on there. So everything is on the calvinmichaels.com website. Fortunately, I was smart and bought my domain name years ago before I was even somebody important or almost somebody important. So I'm glad I did that. And so, yeah, I just made the website. I wasn't planning to really push it until I dropped my next album, but let's go on and just market it on out now. So
That thing out there. Yeah. Well, we thank you, and we also thank all of our viewers, especially the folks that are in the live chat faithfully, and we just cut up and talk and learn stuff and be silly and all that.
yeah, happy y'all had me because I was like, look, y'all be having Mark on here every week. I'm like, if I see him on here, I'll tell Mark I said. I'm joking. Mark got me into Shaka Khan. I became a Shaka Khan stan watching y'all episodes on Shaka. And so
yeah. I prefer that Mark didn't come on the show, but JR was like, don't be like that and let the boy come on. So
oh Lord. And be quiet. No habla inglés.
Love you, Mark. Mean it.
I hate it here.
Yes, the same Mark that bought me a 12-inch of Princess I Hate You. It wrote a very, very, very sassy note on it. But anyway. He ain't innocent. But no. we even love Mark. And love our viewers. Make sure you like, subscribe, share. Get us out here. We can keep talking about music and being our silly fun self.
And don't fight us, comments. This was all in love. Okay, we are fans, so we can say what we want. It's the y'all that don't be fans that be talking all that trash. So this was
come on, somebody. Amen.
Don't be the ones. Child. We are anti-stan around here. But but you know what? We will catch y'all on the next Catch That.